In the White House, President Eisenhower signs the proclamation that makes Alaska's entry into the Union official, nearly 92 years after Lincoln's Secretary of State bought the territory from the Russian Tsar for $7 million.
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Look no further than Alaska's #1 real estate team at alaskashometeam.com. Decades of local experience, knowledge, and expertise in the competitive real estate market. Alaska's Home Team makes buying or selling your home a breeze. Give them a call today at 907-277-3777.
Lady with a Plan, your own Alaska event planner. From scouting the perfect location to planning the tiniest details, specializing in event management and production for intimate social gatherings, retreats, birthdays, bridal, and baby showers. Find Lady with a Plan on Instagram.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They're the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Arctic and 58th. Handcrafted Alaskan-made colonial ciders. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Stop by today and taste an award-winning cider.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska. Built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives. Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include snow and ice management, weekly lawn care, and more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
Can't go wrong with Manelick.
It's time for the calls. Man, Jack, I think we're like perfectly in sync.
Yeah,
we got one.
That going.
Oh, I like that. Fashionably late.
Ooh. That's the one that lets the herd cross the valley, and then he's back there just waiting to make sure none of them get shot, and then he comes across.
Prances across.
Just grazing. Yeah.
Just grazing
He's
up.
a red nose.
Red nose, yeah. Well, welcome to another Alaska Wild Project podcast, episode number 43. Today we have Austin Manelick.
It's pretty close.
Manelick.
Did you do that on purpose?
No, I tried to write it phonetically, and it didn't work. I put M-U-N.
Oh, so the way you read it, it'll come out pronounced.
Yeah, and I messed it up.
Oh, gosh.
Manelick. I got it now.
There is like Athabaskan, I believe, I don't want to butcher this, but chieftain, it's kind of like famous. It's like Manelick.
Oh.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Manelick. So what you got to do is just put that little long E sign over the E there, Manelick.
Yeah.
Right?
They taught you that out there in Palmer, right?
That's right.
The long E.
Yeah. You can feel good about it?
Right there near Sutton.
Yeah.
Serious.
Palmer.
Oh, yeah,
Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer.
Oh, yeah. You know, you mentioned you messed around in those mountains out there. That makes sense. That's your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, being a Palmer boy.
I venture.
Mm-hmm. I love those mountains, dude. I love that area back there.
Mm-hmm.
I got a ram this year back there.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Like, guide said that there's no rams. It's the Talkeetnas are done. And I'm like, well, I'm sure you're not seeing as many as there used to be, but there's still, one hiding under a nook, a cranny here and there.
Pockets
You're going to
around.
shoot the last one.
You got the last ram out of the Talkeetnas, Brandon?
How dare I? Dang it. It kind of felt like I did, and then I talked to another guide buddy of mine. I've mentioned this a couple times on other podcasts. Like, he, didn't mean to, but I was being shamed. I was like, oh.
There's plenty more.
Man.
You shouldn't feel bad, dude.
The white buffalo.
You should be proud of your accomplishment, man.
Yeah, for sure.
It was all good. And what made it better was that there was these other groups in there. I think we'd mentioned it before that there was a camp.
The Razor guy.
Well, there's this other group that I think flew in, and then they came out of this. We saw their camp, and then we went up for a hunt for the day, came down, and then they came down the valley, and they were camped 500 yards away from us.
But they flew in?
Well, I'm pretty sure they must have flown.
Damn.
Yeah, because
that's crazy.
And then the
you fly in and you see a guy come in with the Razor.
Yeah, and then they came in and camped, and then they had to be able to see the tarp hanging off of it. We had it all pinned down, had a little shelter, and they didn't really seem like they intended on working hard at all. Mm-hmm. And so it was gratifying to climb literally past their camp, morning while they're having their coffee, and then we went up and came back down with one, and it was
Did
felt
they see you?
Yeah, not with the ram. No, they had already pulled up and left, which was cool. They needed to go because that was really inappropriate. But it felt like we walked past them and we're like, well, we want it more than you guys, and we're gonna go get one, and we did that day.
A semi-flex when you came down. It was like
and they weren't there.
Slight flex.
Actually, it was more of rubber band ankles that were about to just completely collapse, and so it wasn't quite a flex.
It's kind of a
It was
good
more of a
thing
baby deer thing going on, and a lot of cussing and getting pissed because the fucking Onyx hunt wouldn't
it's more they would have seen you lost and they'd be like,
because let's be real, it got really fucked up there at the end. But
start hitting you with the headlamp.
I'm gonna rely on my cell phone more.
So, but it was really cool to go up in there, and man, what was really cool about were those mountain caribou that we saw up there. Man, they were up in sheep country. I mean, they were at the same height or higher in some areas, and that was really cool. And the majestic nature of the way the Talkeetnas are constructed, because it's a young range, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't Talkeetnas a younger range? But anyway, no.
They have some Rangalia in them and stuff too.
Yeah.
It's newer than the Alaska range.
After a couple of years of going up in the Brooks range, which is a whole different animal and a really cool, unique feature mountain range, the Talkeetnas were a lot more extreme than what I thought.
Cliffy style.
Well, we were just in 6,000-7,000 feet, 6,000 feet in some areas, and we were used to that 4,500, 5,000.
Yeah.
You go another 1,000 feet, it changes a little bit more.
Yeah, the Brooks aren't that gnarly.
They're worn down.
Hold
they
on.
used to be really, really gnarly.
I think they're the oldest.
A million years ago or whatever.
Are they the old? Is that the oldest mountain range?
In Alaska.
Austin knows.
I'm looking over here at Jack.
Well, I know this from the Mitchner book.
Yeah,
the beginning of the Mitchner book, it talks about the formation of Alaska, and
you
you had that northern kind of peninsula that came out the front. Now I can repeat what's in a book sometimes, and then not usually accurately.
I'm going to believe everything's coming out of your mouth right now. So just let it
you
rip.
had that little peninsula sticking out, and then as the plate tectonics and everything's moving up. It would run in and it would get caught there and jammed. And at some time, the Brooks Range were nastier than all the mountains we have in Alaska now.
Yep.
But then you have millions and millions of years or whatever time frame of them getting weathered, and now they're dulled.
Exactly. Exactly right.
I'll tell you what.
They do that.
I can't really remember too much great. It could have been from all them head trauma hits playing contact sports growing up. But
those Wild Sheep Foundation banquets,
my wife lets me off the chain one time.
Oh, you went off the chain, Austin.
No kids. Let's not eat food and really have a good time. But the Mitchner book.
Oh,
man, nice. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I've read it 3 times through. I've and not all the way, but
slide that mic over.
I skipped through. Okay, there we go.
The full
Get excited so I can look at Jack over here.
Yep.
After started dropping
I got those eyes,
get
that eye contact on.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I've had 3 or 4 copies where, you know, after Wild Sheep Banquet, I might leave it in a hotel room or a trade show or something like that. I've lost them, but I've bought them.
Oh,
it's a
so
great
you left
gift.
them for somebody to like, wow,
enjoy.
It is a good gift. You're right.
It
I
really
never thought
is.
about
God,
that.
I would love to have that for a gift.
Okay, you got it, bud. When's your birthday?
It's in the summer.
All right.
It's a long ways away, man.
You also like
Feels way
Santa
too long
Claus
What
away.
about
coming.
Valentine's?
That's what I'm talking about.
right, I
that's sooner.
It's like a perfect sheep camp book. Like, all right, it doesn't really matter where you jump in.
my
You
God.
could
Yeah.
rip it up into fourths.
I just had a visual.
Yeah, and just get little pieces of it.
I just had a visual. Daniel sitting at the fire on a log. All of us crisscross Indian sauce or whatever Indian.
You can't say that. No.
Crisscross
Crisscross
applesauce.
applesauce.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, sorry.
The
didn't mean
old
to
one
offend
was
anybody.
a style.
And him reading that book to us.
I
That's
would.
That's what I'm
I'm
thinking.
very
about.
good
yeah.
at oral.
Yeah,
I want to hear it in Spanish though.
Remember that one time when we were up in the Kenais and you old cocina. We were up in the Kenais there, and you were reading to me and Cisco.
Oh yeah, that's
Dude,
right.
Just
That's right.
I was just like 7 minutes in, just
yeah.
just got into the story and then just passed out.
Oh, I want that treatment next sheep.
I'll read for you.
Dude, he
Yeah, I want
he
that
reads
treatment.
like your 5th grade teacher
Yeah.
read to you, and you were just so entrenched in the story, you
Yeah.
felt like you were like watching a movie.
Yeah.
In your mind, that's how he relays text.
Your
from a
adult
book.
reading should be called Mr. Danielson.
Mr. Danielson.
Yeah.
Read on, read off.
Yeah.
I used to actually, when my kids were little, when my boys were little, they would want me to tell them a story, but not out of a book.
Yeah.
And I would just make up.
We
just
do that
freeball
all the
it.
time at
I
my
would ju-
house.
Yeah, that's really
Just
cool.
makes- just
And
make
I would
it
just
up.
make up a story on like how the rivers were made or how the fish came up or how like I actually think I did a mountain one.
Nice.
Like how they were formed in the volcanoes, and I would
Get
just
their
go in,
imagination just
and then
ripping.
they're just and then, you know, and then out.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
Puppy can go upstairs and
Then they're like, "Where's the battle in the T-Rex?" And you're like, "Okay, well, I'll add that."
We'll talk about that later.
I get my kids to fall asleep like Alaska Wild Sheep, the magazine that you get, you know, life member or not, you get that magazine, and I'll read that to them, and they're out.
yeah.
Boy, I've read the same article like 3 or 4 times
Yeah.
just to try to get through it, and like get past one more paragraph. It's magic.
As you start yawning too.
Wake up at 4 a.m. Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I wake up just on the carpet, lay down on the ground, look up. Oh, my wife said, "Yeah, I came in and shook you pretty good." I'm like, "Yeah,
I was out, man.
I was out. He gone.
Is that man?
The
He
sheep
gone.
story got me.
You got me."
That's real good.
Austin's Instagram is your whole name. I don't know how you got that. I don't know who you paid off to get just one word, Austin Manelick. And then the main other one is Mission Alaska, Mission _ Alaska.
Yep. Single underscore.
Single underscore. Okay. Is there a meme one that's double underscore?
Yeah, there is.
Is that yours or is that someone else?
I've got no
You're
idea.
private, bro.
Mission Alaska is private.
No,
No,
not
no,
Mission,
his is.
you.
Oh, yeah. That's
I'll
kind of
start
like a private one where
following
I
you,
post
man.
like more
Family stuff.
family stuff and whatnot.
Yeah,
Where
that's
like,
cool. I totally understand. Yeah.
I mean, you know, killing for content type of deal. That's like a whole other thing that is interesting these days.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes,
like
it is.
there's- what are you really doing it for? You know, why am I on Instagram? Well, I started a blog years ago when I was filming TV shows, like hunting TV shows. That's like where I got my start, right? Before guiding, you know, I just started that up, just kind of like the development of things. But I started the blog before the TV shows. 'Cause I'm like, oh, digital's going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Guess I wasn't good enough at being an early adopter, but like I got some of these spaces where I'm like, oh, this is cool. Let me learn how to do this and try to make a living at this and get away from like the fake. Not all of them are fake, but like some of the TV shows that I worked for and filmed, I'm like, wow, this is different when the record button gets pressed. So some of them were legit, and I'd like to spend all the time I could with them, but you only have so many hunts a year that you can do when you're filming TV shows, and a lot of it's during the fall when you want to be hunting yourself. Not much in the spring other than like some spring bear turkeys or Africa, and you can't really get that gig. So it was like really tough to carry that all the way through
Annually.
annually. So that's where I started with Mission Alaska. I'm like, I got to make a blog. Let me start this.
Yeah.
And then like you can see it now. I don't really update it. Like I should be fully focused on. Fully focused.
Fully
on
soaked and focused.
Yeah, fully soaked.
We'll get you
soaking it.
a couple more Caribou calls. You'll be fully soaked.
Oh yeah, you'll be good to go.
Oh, boy.
Is there been a blogger that has made it? Is there like, oh, so and so's the famous blogger?
I think there's a lot of them, right?
Is there? Like, we can't name one, can we?
I can't.
I think a lot of
You know how me and
bloggers
social
moved
media-
on to something else. You
Yeah,
know, like
to
they got their
podcasts or
start,
something?
they got enough following, or like food TV people and stuff like that. You know,
okay. Yeah.
I think it's with digital, it's not just like one individual place or like asset, so to speak.
Right.
It's kind of like, all right, well, Instagram was where I got like a big jump. And on like YouTube, I've got like some videos that are all right. And I film and edit those. And Facebook, I just stopped going there because it was a different crowd. And then Instagram, I got like this big bump. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And that's where people are like, oh, I follow you on IG. I'm like, oh, sweet. What's up? But the blog is just kind of whatever, you know?
When's the last time you wrote something on there?
Well, you know, now I write for Winchester Ammunition.
Okay.
And so, like, a lot of the blogs
Sweet
I go,
pullover you got there.
oh, this? Oh, boy, dude, I'm decked out.
Whoa.
Right.
Damn.
Yeah,
Damn.
double Winchester.
You got the socks.
Yeah.
You got the thong?
I was gonna say that, but I was like, I'll shoot for those wool socks.
I'll say
Yeah,
it. I'll say it.
Cue the Cisco thong song. Cue it right now.
We were just talking about a Cisco too.
So,
We were.
sometimes. So I feel like with like even doing this with you guys, like it's even in focusing on one individual like asset. If you're not like out and doing different things with different people in collaboration, I mean, like look at songs. Some of like the great songs that come out that really take traction. It's like so and so featuring so and so. So if you're not out like doing that, you may not gain the traction if you're just like, oh, I'm a solo artist. I just do this.
Yeah.
Only gets
So
you
the
so
blog writing transitioned into more article style writing.
Yeah, with
much.
Winchester, but it's different. They're more like product centric. They're not as much as like I want to tell the story of like what happened because I'm fired up about it.
Yeah.
And that's like the memories that are ingrained forever.
Yeah.
And the stuff that I put my kids to sleep to when I tell them like, oh, hey, this was, let me tell you a story about my first sheep hunt,
Yeah.
which was just awful. A whole bunch of them were, right? So,
yeah, that happens.
but, you know, the art of storytelling and story reading and being able to like deliver that and, you know, even with comedy, just everything you guys know with, like your music background, right? Like there is something that hangs people on every beat, every word, and you just kind of you
There's
get
a rhythm
going.
to it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
yeah, great point.
that's one of the reasons why now I follow social media and haven't really been posting as much because I've kind of got a different story to tell now, and it's not really a story that I'm telling, but it's looking for inspiration.
Yeah.
And when I read things, and when I saw you guys on your sheep hunt, and then heard the podcast with Kevin Dana, I'm like, yeah, man, they get it for sure.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that sheep hunt that you guys did, where I don't believe you did get anything, right?
Yeah.
Those are the best ones, kind of. I mean, I shouldn't say kind of it. I think it tells the tale of what a more frequent experience of sheep hunting is versus when somebody just always posts the kill. It's like, it's the kind of icing on the cake. Most of the time you're going and you're experiencing camaraderie and you're going through ups and downs and pain and anguish and despair and excitement. And there's just like these things that you can't really like tell in a picture, a video. I guess you can tell in a video. I thought we did a pretty decent job maybe in our videos, which were super amateur, but thanks for saying that, because like we were just learning on the fly. No one, like we didn't grow up with anybody to show us how to do it. And so it was all through trial and error, and we've had some good luck and we've had some
Lots of errors.
lots and lots of errors.
Lots of fun.
But I mean,
Lots of fun for sure. That's probably the number
dude.
one, man.
Yeah.
Just just that brotherhood you get with being with, you know, 1 or 2, 3 guys out there.
You can really bond with somebody in a way that you could have never imagined when you're sitting in a tent.
Especially during the suffering and the just when you're pinned down for days, you know.
It's not so bad when you're with somebody that's doing it with you and you guys are like enjoying it in the same capacity.
You can enjoy the suck factor.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So that's what I have realized, you know, kind of what I was going to chat with you guys about. Like, as we age, I've realized, even like the Scotty Gomez podcast, when he said, you're going to feel a hit when you're 27.
Yeah.
I'm like, hell yeah. Yeah, you are 27. Everything changed. I'm like, okay. Been like an athlete my whole life, and I'm hiking and I'm romping, stomping panther meat, and then I get out in the woods, and then 27, I wake up in the summer with all that birch, and I'm like, I got allergies? What is this?
That same thing happened to me. That's so funny.
27?
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I never had allergies, and I always made fun of my wife for having allergies and all this
you're
stuff.
all bulletproof and
then
shit.
one day she's like, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "I don't know, my eyes are like really itchy." She's like, "You got allergies?" I said, "No, I fucking don't have allergies." Tell me that. And then I went to the doctor for some random reason, and he's like, "Yeah, you got allergies." And I was like,
"You gotta get you some of that fireweed honey, dude."
Is that what helps?
Oh, hell yeah, it does.
Oh.
Yeah,
Some fireweed honey?
Or just fireweed?
I don't know. You already have the fire.
Some of that Winslow.
Yeah, get you some of that fireweed honey.
Weezy Winslow.
That'll help you out.
You know, when I Googled you, Austin, it said actor. That's it.
Where?
Just actor. I
Like
put in your name and I
Mission
put
Alaska?
No. I just put in your
just
name.
Googled him?
Googled, and it just said actor.
What was my stage name?
I don't know. I don't know. I was like, actor?
Manelick.
And it just got me thinking, like, what would you want, like, Jack? What would you, if someone Googled you and just said Jack Lau in one word, what would you want to say?
Damn. I don't know.
The cider boss?
No.
What about you, Brandon?
Womp, womp. What would I be?
Well, Austin, what would you rather it be than actor?
Well,
Or is that
I could talk tough right now. I think like if I talk tough, I would just be like B.M.F.
Yeah.
Bad mofo.
Yeah, right.
Damn, dude.
Man, he's
That's a
confident.
good one.
Get it out
That's a
there.
good one.
Hey,
Far.
I'm a bad mofo. What do you want?
Yeah. I think like adventure. I think that, or open to adventure, like wander or something like that. I don't know.
Wanderer?
I think I figured it out.
What? Well, you got one?
The procrastinator.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh, man, I've been pretty good at
That's
that
perfect.
lately.
That's
man.
perfect. That's good.
I didn't do my
It's
homework.
like, is that a profession? Like, well, I've made it one.
I think I can sit in that chair too.
Oh, man, pretty damn good at it. So,
what about you? What would you
Oh, man. What? If my name there?
Ice fisherman.
nah.
Rap star.
No.
I'd say
maybe 20 years ago.
I'd say cool's the rule, man. Like
One
Barry
word, has to
Melrose
be one
style.
word.
Oh,
Just
one-
cool.
Ooh,
just cool.
hot dogger.
Hot dogger.
Oh, okay.
Playboy?
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
there
we're
it
like
is.
but like all clever.
P.I.M.E.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Actor doesn't really cover it because there's not really any acting in Dall sheep hunting or
Yeah,
like
you probably didn't do anything out of the full natural yourself, right?
no, never.
There's no acting there.
The first interaction I ever had or seen you was on the show Ultimate Survival Alaska, right?
Yep.
What year was that?
Oh boy,
Or maybe we can look it
What
up.
is
2014. It was like,
Did you guys watch that?
What is it?
Okay, so I'll let you explain it.
Is a
Well, let me explain it from my point of view,
Yeah.
the viewer versus you that actually did it. There's
Yeah.
probably a lot of BS that was going on. But anyway, they chose, I want to say, I think the first one, it was like 4 different people or 4 different groups.
So
Might have
this
went to
is like
groups
a
later.
reality TV show?
Yeah, the National Geographic put out,
Oh.
and like when all the Alaska shows started going on, and then National Geographic put out the Ultimate Survival Alaska, and it was pretty much like a race, I'd want to say, from point A to point B, and they had all these groups that had to like get there. And I think in the beginning it was they teamed you guys up or something like that. And anyway, they would go and then they would see who can make it to the other side. One of them was like crossing this island, and you got to do all this stuff. But it's and Dallas Evie was in there, and you were in there, and what was the other guy? What was some of the other members that were on there?
Oh, Melissa Bachman, she was a huntress. She was on there for their episode, on the first episode, but I guess something happened there. I don't know. She got nixed, but like Brent Sass was the musher.
What was the dude? Marty, dude. Marty with the
Marty the Party?
Marty the Party, dude?
Yeah, you guys should get him
Oh, with
on
the
here.
chest hair?
Oh, man. Go to Marty real quick, man. This guy was savage.
Wait,
Scroll up real quick.
Matt Rainey?
Oh, yeah, Matt Rainey.
Matt's a G.
well, here, let me back up, because if you Google it, it pulls up, like, it shows everybody's picture, except for Austin.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Grady Powell. Oh, yeah, Grady. Oh, yeah, Marty Rainey, dude.
Oh,
this guy,
here?
bro.
Oh, Marty?
Yeah.
Did he get his chest? Was his chest showing?
Oh, his chest was out all the way, man.
Oh,
We've been saying
perfect.
Marty for years when someone has their chest pulled out.
Was that where you got the Marty from?
Yeah, from that show.
You just go full Marty?
Yeah.
It just gets you hot and just chest
And then
hair starts
Oh, you don't
flaring
have
out?
your like official picture up there. You need to send your what are those
Austin, man,
shots
what's
called?
going on?
That, actors.
Well, you see, like
Headshots?
Willie, pretty man. Like he's been to the top of Aconcagua, and he's like guided so many Denali adventures. He had the Alpine Ascents, and he's like one of the guys that throughout the show that I really got along with.
Yeah.
And you know, because he was saged, and he wasn't necessarily a hunter, but he was a really cool dude. And I've seen him out in Talkeetna. Like, I've spent a lot of time out in Talkeetna. It's kind of one of the summer jams.
Yep.
But he was a really cool dude. It was a reality TV show that they were doing, like the 100-year anniversary from an old, I believe it was 100-year, an old cherry-picked National Geographic sponsored adventures in Alaska, right?
Cool.
So we visited like the Valley of 10,000 Smokes. We went to the Gates of the Arrogach.
So they like flew you around.
Yeah, they would fly. Then we would go. They'd start us somewhere that we would hike and travel. And like, I stopped watching it because I'm like, I lived it. You know, like I watched the first episode. I'm like, all right, cool.
How long did you do it?
We did it for, I believe we were gone for about 90 days total.
Oh, okay.
Like from beginning to end, and then back home for a little bit here and there in the end. But like it was tough. It for sure was tough. And a lot of the stuff you see is where we only had so much food rations and like having to be able to survive off the land.
Staged.
No.
That was real?
No, it was real. There was no like, hey, if you do this, you get a candy bar.
Yeah.
Classic, what is that, Survivor?
Yeah.
So, no, a lot of that was really tough to keep it all together
What
with that
year was
amount
this?
of like calories. It was 2014. You can look it up, but I didn't do season
13
2 or season 3 if they had it. I'm not really sure. I didn't like follow up because I did it under the the thought that I got to bring my bow and I got to go to all these spots and go hunting.
Yeah.
I'm like, sweet, I don't got that cheddar laying around to go fly around or
Hell no.
like, to get into the Yukon and do this. And then it realized there's not enough time. There's not a focus on hunting. Some of the places we went to, we got dropped by helicopter where you can't even hunt small game.
Right.
Oh, right.
And then some of the other places were national parks. So I was like, wow, okay, I can only hunt like 1 or 2 places and you have like 3 or 4 days to do it and you're just traveling. So I was like, man, I'm not doing any more reality TV, pal.
You couldn't really like put a personal agenda into it at all.
Zero. No, at all. You're like, you're on for a ride. And then once I sign up for something, you know, you never quit. Like I'm going to the end, regardless of
Gotta
how
finish
tough
it out.
is.
Yeah, I signed up for this.
Was there like a tryout or something? You had to like submit a video, or like how did they even say, hey, maybe you'd be a good fit for this?
They found me when I was doing Mission Alaska on my blog. You know, and they saw a YouTube video. They're like, we like this young buck. And they called me up like, hey, you want to be a National Geographic explorer for us and come on the show? Really, it was like, you want to be a reality TV star for us?
Yeah.
That is what it is. And like, I guess it's been past 7 years now, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, was there like, you can't say nothing for?
You know what? I didn't
No
really
one's
look.
listening to this anyway.
Yeah, well, I didn't really look, and I don't really care. Just kind of like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
Obviously, after that, didn't really help me out in anything. Like, it didn't help me in Mission Alaska and all the stuff that I've done. It's not been like, oh, I saw you from Ultimate Survival, and yeah, I followed you on here. No.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I've been watching you hunting and getting out and getting after it. And man, it's an inspiration. I'm like, sweet, right on, man.
So the YouTube has been more help to
And social media too.
Yeah. So then even the website, but definitely Instagram. I had Facebook before, like a lot of the outdoor TV shows had Facebooks. And
Your website's badass.
oh man, I haven't updated. I don't even want to turn around and look at this screen.
No, those two moose though are fucking.
Oh, that's a really good video, man.
That's awesome.
What's your homie's name?
Oh, that's Kalen Kohlberg.
Kalen Kohlberg. Yep. Yeah, he's what's the bait that he does? He has doesn't he have like a baiting line?
Oh, dude, I've seen this picture.
Oh no, that's Beta 907.
Oh, Baitum 907.
Yeah, he uses their products, and that's a gal out of Wasilla, makes like bear bait products.
Okay.
All sorts of stuff. She makes bomb.com.
Got it.
So, but yeah, he's been doing his thing and family. This is the whole, couple of kids, wife, life.
Yeah.
Me, couple of kids,
Wife
life. And you're like, oh man, all these hunts start to mean more, and it means like less to just like, we're going out with the boys. This is great. And that's when Mission Alaska really took off, where it was like, wife's at work. I'm doing work, air quotes.
Yeah.
Let's go, let's explore these registration tags. Let's you don't even need to get a permit. Let's go back to back to back. And being young in that age, the 23 to 30.
Before
kids, income. And you're like, well, I already got my gal at home. I'm going to go and have some fun. She got her. Everything is perfect. It's like, it's time to develop and go after it. And that's when Mission Alaska took off. And now I'm like, lucky if I get a post a week and I pull it up. I'm like, let me try to be relevant and think about something good. I'm like, that's not what it's about. I'm like, actually, I don't need to post anything. Let me look to someone else. Let me look at some other inspiration. And that's what I find myself doing, different adventures.
I dig that, man.
Like your guys' Brooks Range trip. I'm like, man, I struck out on the Brooks. I want to go to a different place, get something new, and then be in that state of flow. And you guys know about flow, right? Like the adrenaline control. When you drop down and you're like, oh, I've been here. This is my home hill. We're going to do this. It might be successful or not if there's a die-off. But when you get into a new zone and you're like, I got no idea. I know this is what I'm looking for. I know we're in a good spot, but we're going to have to put on a lot of miles, and it might all come together. It might be a disaster, and you're reading 1/4 of James Mitchner's book at a time. As
the rain's passing through.
Yeah, right? So that's the adventure that I'm looking for, is something that gets me, when I'm away from my family especially, all right, this ignites that fire. It's it's not the kindling. It's dude, someone just threw on another couple of logs, and that'll keep me going through the winter. And then when I get there, and then when you get to the hunt, weather, nothing. Mountains, we have time. We're doing this. Yep. And nothing can get in the way of the mental, oh, you should go home now.
Yeah.
It's no, you're going to the end.
Yeah.
Is there other people involved with Mission Alaska? Or is it pretty much your baby?
Yeah. It's been mine since the beginning. I started with a guy who's now, his name's John Dykes, who I met at Penn State. So we played Penn State rugby. Actually, I met him. I didn't meet him at Penn State. I met him at USA Rugby U19 tryouts. So between U18 graduating senior year and then going to school, I met him at the USA U19 tryout. So my brother was captain of the Penn State team, captain of the USA U23 rugby team, and I got a tryout for USA.
Nice.
My brother just said, "Hey,
big brother,
you show up." He owns Altitude Chiropractic.
Okay,
out in the valley. So I got your tryout. Go there. I don't even know if he got me a tryout or if it's open or whatever. But I went, made the initial squad to go to either the World Cup and then go to all these practice, the practice camps. And shortly after that, I got recruited into Penn State. So I met John Dykes at this USA camp. All of a sudden, rugby is, oh, wow, who's here? Okay. And John Dykes was there. So John Dykes and I became dogs. Where I'm like, hey, Alaska, Pennsylvania, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? Paying for a good time. He came up.
Those are memories, man.
Right?
Memories.
He came up and he this was before Mission Alaska, but he came up and said, I want to kill a moose. All right, let's go. And then we broke it off on 10-day stretch before school and brought back all this meat from this moose hunt. We shot it on like the 3rd or 4th day and spent 6 days packing this meat out of the Kenai. Young and dumb. But John and I
burned and turned over logs and
preseason training.
It was tough. I showed back up to my sophomore year, and they're like, what happened to you? Like, you know, 205, 200 freshman year. And then like I showed back up 185. They're like, have you been working out, Manelick? What's going on? But I'm running laps around. Dude's like, oh, okay.
Oh, lighten up.
So John and I had this like vision to try to get into the outdoor industry, all the TV worlds. And then basically after we were going different ways, he filmed some TV shows with me. And then he got a job for like Fierce Marketing, and he was doing some cool stuff. Cool. And then now he's the director of marketing for Hilleburg Tents.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Super cool.
Yep. So
Damn, just kind of made his path and
just carved it out, man.
yeah, man.
Yep.
Did you start with the blog?
Did he start with the blog? No, well, we both started it, and then we were like, okay, this is going to be something. And then he didn't, you know, Alaska may not have been the chips for him. He's always thinking about it, but he's settled down in Seattle.
Is that where Hilleburg's out of? Seattle?
Yeah, Seattle. That general ballpark, I don't really actually know where it's at. Down.
Well, and he's closer to
Western Washington.
Western hunting now. He's got British Columbia, Alaska, you know, the Western states. It's kind of a good spot to be if you're into that.
That was, yeah. So that was around Ultimate Survival and everything. And there was like a little bit of a shift. I'm like, well, I'm going home. Like, I'm obviously, and bebopped around Colorado on my way back from college and ended up home. Yeah. And kept going with Mission Alaska, and he kept going with what he was doing. And then Kalen came in the fold. I knew him. He was another Palmer boy, and he helped out substantially. And we did a lot of really cool adventures together, like that website picture. We did a 24-day float on the Yukon.
Wow, that's a long.
Oh boy,
It's a long hunt.
and he had a kid at the time, and
That's that one right there.
yep, yeah, the one.
That's a great video. Is that one that are like in that water? You had to pull them out of the water.
Yep. And so that was when we started doing like, I need to start doing this more and taking the film aspect and media aspect, because this was fun, and I was really like, let me get into the flow of editing, right?
Yeah.
So we did that together and kind of built Mission Alaska while we were building other brands. So doing the digital marketing. So like I do that other than Mission Alaska is digital marketing, anonymous content creation for several different brands. And that's kind of what carried us through. And we kept trying everything out on Mission Alaska, throwing it at the wall, seeing what sticks. And I still have several clients. So that's like what I do other than guiding.
Yeah.
Guiding's like the new flame, right? But doing digital marketing, social media content creation anonymously for different brands.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
Cool. And you do guide every year?
I've actually just been guiding for the last couple years.
Okay.
So everything that I've
Just
done
recently.
until just recently has been all just personal hunts with friends and family.
Is that Mission Alaska Guide service, or what is that?
No, so Mission Alaska, that's just been my personal brand that I've been
Right. Okay.
funneling everything through.
What's your guide company or?
Well, I'm assistant guide currently.
Okay.
And so I've worked
working
for
up to it.
Eric Lee, Alaska Adventure Services. He's linked up with Solo Hunter, or Solo. I should say Solo Hunter linked up with him.
There you go.
And so I've worked with him. He sent me on a couple of Dall sheep hunts, and been doing some hunts with Pacific Mountain Guides. If you guys know Valdez Outfitters,
I heard of them.
Yeah.
Tim Bouchard.
Yeah. My cousin mentioned those guys before.
Yeah,
Okay.
Tim Bouchard he's the big stuff in Valdez. Like you can see it, his properties and what he's bought and everything. He's a really cool dude.
Cubs right out of Valdez.
Hey, boats, Cubs, you name it. That dude is.
Does he do the
Gets
air
after
competitions and all that? Is he?
No,
Oh,
actually,
okay. I mean, I'm thinking of somebody else.
he's into the pilot world, but
Yeah.
more so into his fleets is Ocean Fleet and like rentals and big boats. So he's a G, like he's the Valdez G, and he's got a really cool story about how he developed his brands. He did some marketing work and then came up and came down. Like I think he's the king of Valdez. Like you guys should check him out for sure.
Yeah, for sure, I will.
And then so Ben Stevenson, and he doesn't really even have. He just has like a name, and then he's got like Sheep Creek hunt camps or something like that, but he's just one of these old guys, old in the tooth, great private pilots that flies around. And he's got the old guard clients. So people have been booked for years from word of mouth.
Oh,
so that's the guiding that I've been up to. Did the sheep, some grizz, and then goats this year.
Right on. So how's that work? You're assistant guide for a certain period of time, and
so how the guiding works. Oh, sorry. Yeah. I'm getting all excited.
Yeah, let's get
let's get into it, Austin. Yeah, it's all good.
So basically, I don't know the exact date of when this happened, but I think it's 2008 is kind of what I understand. Would have to be fact checked on that. To become a registered guide in the state of Alaska, there's been like a lot of hurdles that have been put into place by the Board of Game
recently.
2008. So
okay.
It seemed like there was a lot of individuals who were getting in, right, and getting grandfathered in, and now you have to have 120. So you have to be an assistant guide, and to be an assistant guide, you have to be a part of 3 registered or contractual hunts with like a guided hunt. You got to be packing, filming, whatever. You're on that hunt. That's to become assistant guide. And then there's other things like 60 days of field and a few other things. And then to be a registered guide, once you get your assistant guide license, and like I can just like paraphrase some of it, but there is 120 days contractual in the field as an assistant guide under contracts. And then you need 8 positive references. So like that can be easy enough.
Clients or
from clients. Well, no, it has to be from clients.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and this is like a state form. And you can't do all 8 in 1 year. Only 2 can come from each year.
So it's 4 years minimum?
No, 3 years from each minimum. But you can't do 1 year and then 6 the next and 1 the next. It has to be 2.
It's almost kind of designed to weed you out if you're really not about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you have to do it like a skinning video of trophy care in your hands. And they've got like all sorts of like I don't know,
rules or like
rules that
things are looking for.
Yeah, you have to have your hands and your face in and explain it the whole time, and then you've got to do a written exam, oral exam underneath the
registered guide.
Yeah, the registered guides. It's a professional hunter association. I should know that off the top of my head, but just continue that. After the oral exam, then you do Boone and Crockett trophy scoring exam as well. And I've talked to a lot of guys who've done it, and it's you got to pass, not necessarily flying colors, maybe 70 or 80%, but it is really tough for a lot of people to get all those
pretty rigorous
ducks in a row. And then that written exam is tough.
Oh yeah. How
many
questions?
All about regulations or?
Well, for example, you have to spend 60 days in the guide use area, undersigned like affidavit, as I understand it, just to be able to guide there. So if you're a guide, you go out with your guide. I'm an assistant guide. I'm guiding in this area, and I spend my days under contract with this guide. Here I am. I can qualify for his area, but like, what does that say about you as a person? I'm
gonna guide here too. So you take that side of the river.
Oh, I forgot. Each animal you plan to guide for, you have to have 3 kills. For each animal. So
as an assistant guide?
As an assistant guide under contract. So for doll sheep, if you want to guide doll sheep, you got to have 3 kills. Brown bear, 3 kills. Brown and grizz. Moose, 3 kills. So they make it very tough to do now, for sure. But I appreciate it. If that's going to be like another step, like it's also like, I wasn't part of the old guard. I'm the new guard, right? Like where I'm coming in, where I'm like, yeah, okay, I did the hard yards.
How does the old guard look upon the new guys that are trying to come in? Is there like a freshman kind of deal where they're like, this guy's not going to make it, or are they trying to encourage you to to make it, or do they look at you like future competition?
Don't guide your competition. Don't, excuse me, not guide. Don't train your competition.
Got it.
So, but that being said, there's like some guys who are old in the tooth, and they're like, okay, well, how do I get ahead of this curve, right? Of like, well, I'm gonna have them buy my outfit. I've got this concession or this area dialed in. I've got the lodges. I have this. I have that. Now, can I manage all this young ego or this young buck all the way through and to make my end payout? Maybe. Do I dangle the carrot in front of them? Maybe. Do I dangle the carrot in front of a bunch of them and then sell out to some dude who's in the lower 48 or some dude who's looking to buy another lot over here or whatever? So it's like, it's really interesting, you know, and then I've just dove into this. Like, I've known about it for a long time. But when you start to dive in, then you create these relationships with people who trust you, and you go out and like you make memories together. Like it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Whole different ball game. And so Mission Alaska, when I was starting to do Mission Alaska, I was always against guiding. Like, I was not into it because I was out there and I would get big leagued by a guide, and it just seemed like when I just had enough money to get there, I would just get there, break it off. I'd see a guide who'd big league me, and I'm like, I was jaded for years, and then I'm like, meh, you win some, you lose some.
Yeah.
It's like a ratio of success to effort.
Yeah. Do the when a registered guide is trying to sell his spot or his area, does he have to sell it to another registered guide, or can he sell it to someone whoever has the most money, and then that person has to hire registered guides and assistant guides?
You know, that's hard to say without knowing.
Yeah.
So this is where the rabbit hole of research goes deep. Usually, as I understand, you have to be a registered guide to be able to own certain areas, such as like, you know, there's say the Wrangell Preserves, right? To have that concession, it's through the Wrangell St. Elias National Park and Preserve, right? And there's only so many that can do it. I believe it's just one. But who can demonstrate that? And then the contract, as I understand, and you know what? I shouldn't get too deep in this because I'm not like fully versed on it.
Yeah.
Maybe
like, someone that's listening can say, hey, this is actually the track that it takes or what it is.
As I understand, to get those, you have a certain set time period before it renews, if that makes sense. Okay. And if you are like, hey, I did this. And
like you have a lease on this area or something.
Right. And so before like trying to talk like I'm in that master class, like I gotta keep in check. This is what keeps me going for my next thing, right?
Yeah.
And so that's a great question. I'm not really sure exactly how many can operate, but I believe it's like, I'm the sole concession owner of this area. So the preserve would be like where residents only can hunt. Guides cannot guide in this preserve. There's only one. So you might be going against local badasses, but you're not going against like multiple guides that are really dialed and have the super cubs or the access to get in.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if they're giving big lease tracks to multiple guide services, or do they say, all right, we're going to spread these guys out and you get this area, you get this area, so there's not much overlap?
I don't think all the land has concessions, right? Like there's a big part of like the Alaskan range that is like freely open to guides.
Right. A lot like, so state of Alaska land is different than BLM land or like preserve land
and refuge
and national forest, like national forest. There's, you know, multiple people operate in the national forest. Like Chugach National Forest, for example. Right. So it's kind of like checkerboarded, obviously, but
and then like some Alaska land would have one rule, like no concessions, but then you have like Toke Management Area, which has a concession.
Right, if it's in the preserve. So this is the other interesting thing is Alaska Native land. And so that is like a bingo, like if you can get one of those, which like Doyon, not really interested.
Yeah.
I mean,
as I
understand it, not really interested in allowing non-shareholders, even like Alaska residents, to hunt on doy on land, like trespass, hunting trespass.
Do they have the draws like Siri does? I've never looked into Doyon's deal, but
I have no idea. All I know is I've tried to reach out, and it's the Matrix. It's a stone wall, bud.
Yeah.
If you're not connected, you
they're
never
like,
will be.
Yeah, we're not calling you back.
Yeah, or email. It's pretty interesting, and they've got a lot of it locked up.
It seems like that entire business of guiding and outfitting is a big club. That's like you're trying to get into that club. You have to be accepted into that club and just hope that you can make it in order to someone eventually to pass it down or something like that. It's not like obviously you're going through it right now and probably finding out that it's more difficult than maybe you first anticipated. I mean, I'm sure you went in with the end goal, like, hey, I eventually want to have my own area and be a registered guide and have guides under me. Is that about right?
Yeah, and I don't even know about guides under me. Like, I'd do it really small. That's what I've thought in the future. And, you know, there's regulations about soliciting for marketing or advertising for being a future registered guide or anything. So, like, I can't really talk tough to that. Obviously, like, I've got a goal, but, like, I can't market and advertise that that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
So there's all these nuances where you can get too big for your britches too quick, and that's what can happen. But I'll tell you what, the more I've researched it and thought about doing that, man, I'm glad that I got a pack raft. I'm like in the water, but I'm glad I got a raft to hold on to because it is deep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
Do you feel that that industry is on the rise, on the peak, on the decline? As we see, like, sheep numbers go down, and you know, even not to say like COVID and all this stuff. Is there a bright future for that, or what's your opinion on that?
I will say this: like, if you are a registered guide and you don't have something like special, and when I say special, I mean like an area where other guides can't come and take people that have the same resources that you do, even though you can be a badass, you know, from Alaska. Like, we know a lot of them, private pilots who's got the, you know, decked out Cubs that ain't even insured because they got so many mods. Like, they're going to go and do what they want to do, and they can go in there and hunt that as a resident. However, there's not as many to get that deep, and it's kind of like pockets around the state. These like individual places that are like, oh, hey, I want to go here. And I don't know if you guys have ever, I'll get to this in a minute about transporters, but and transporter guides relationships, because I've talked about this before on podcasts, but it's kind of interesting. State land, any guide can register one of those, and it's not like a whole game management unit. It's like a section, like a broke off section,
a subunit type.
It's a subunit, right? So if you got Onyx, obviously, and you turn on that layer, you can see exactly where they're at. So like, there's only so much access in individual places. So in some of those areas, yeah, they may be great, but if a guide's got 3 clients, he wants them to be 100%. He's going to sweep in there. If that sheep is 6 years old, he's going to shoot it if it's legal, right?
Yeah.
Yep. You got Shaquille O'Neal genetics, and you got a 37-inch ram that's back 360 or stick method, whatever method it is, it's legal. He's going to shoot it. That's $20,000 at the bank for him.
Yeah.
So BLM, if you don't have that relationship, or if you don't have the relationship with the state, or not the state, excuse me, the preserves or however it works, or the individual land owner, yep. It's all different. So I see a lot of the areas where like your average Joe Blow, which is me, trying to get there and getting there, and then getting out competed on the fringes of like, you cannot go any further, and this is where it's at, and then someone kills the ram, you're like, So that's why you hear like, and you look at the individual breakdown of success rates in different places, where you're like, okay, there's a great amount of success there. What is happening? You go and you strike up zeros because the transporter is only going to drop you here.
Oh, well, I want to put you in the honey hole.
I want to go here. I know where this is.
Gotcha.
I want to go. Well, I can't. There's already a camp there.
Oh.
Oh, oh, you know, so like that's where I feel like the population between, you know, there's 600, just say 6 on the low end, 600 to 800 of Dall sheep. Just speaking of Dall sheep, because that's like obviously the concern, because goats, they're doing great. They get shut down with registration. If they can't withstand it, and goat numbers seem everywhere I've been, it's been great.
Yeah.
Moose seem good.
Yeah, moose and pockets are great. The Yukon, sure, great. But Dall sheep is such like a it's been put on that pedestal.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
So that's the hard thing with sheep, and saying, is it getting better? Is it getting worse? Is it staying the same? There's always been about 600 to 800 depending. This last year, I believe I heard there's like 650 or so that were killed. So it was a little bit of a dip. But look at Kevin Dana's ram. You know, you don't even see a trophy shot of that. It's like in with his kids, and you're like, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
He got somewhere good, pal.
Yeah.
It's like stuff of dreams right there.
Yeah, he's got an insane one there. I'll let him talk about it when he's ready, but
Yeah.
He's like, don't look at me, don't make eye contact. It's awesome sheep.
Don't even ask about it.
So, but your podcast with Kevin, that was really interesting, and like, I think it's tough with the whole state versus the different land ownership.
yeah.
And then the transporter relationships. So if you got a private airplane,
You're set.
send her, bud.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. That's where
Well,
it's
not
at,
even.
huh?
I mean, you hear the stories of these other guys that will like set their tent up on the
We had
runway
that
and stuff like
growing
that.
up.
Yeah.
Yep. Like the area that we sheep hunted growing up, like we found it. We hunted it for years. And a guide found it through kind of a word of mouth from our transporter. And then next year we go to land there, and there's a tent set up in the middle of our runway. And then, anyway, I don't want to get into that whole story, but yeah, it really sucked, especially as a kid. You know, I'm not out there trying to kill like a giant ram. I'm out there for experiencing Alaska and wild Alaska, and then you run into someone else out there. It just sucks.
Yeah.
Well, it's with the Kevin, you're talking, you know, like, well, every few years you get what is the solution if we were king for the day? Well, here's the deal. In state land, a lot of places that we can get to relatively easily, or not really relative. I mean, got to put in serious effort no matter what. But a 7-year-old ram that's there is probably going to get a bullet, right?
Yep.
And so you're out there competing. You're like, I'm going to let him live. And here comes somebody in the Nelchina spider web on a razor or a 4-wheeler, and like, how did you get across, pal? Like, how'd you get back here? And he's out there competing, and you know if he sees it,
He's going to get it.
he's going to get it. Doesn't matter if he has 10 rams on the wall, 5 or none.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, let him live. So it's really that land ownership and the pockets with the bad winners. And I wish we could all just like cherry pick and go from place to place to place. And some people do, but the home hill is always the sweetest, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know why. Well, I guess I know why, but like if there was an emphasis on promoting more goat hunting, I mean, it's just as gnarly. It's just as cool. I mean, it's just as tasty. Everything is just as good. And there's way more of them, and there's not a problem there. Like, there should almost be like some sort of marketing or promoting, like, hey, we're going to give these a rest and we're going to transition or shift over. Or does it just spread the problem out if that happens?
I mean, I don't think the goat population is that much healthier. And I think that goats are way more sensitive to problems. You know, you get like an avalanche coming through, or you lose some nannies, like your little local colony's toast because it takes so long to reproduce that group of goats. I think goats are just managed really well in Alaska. I mean, almost every area is a permit area. A lot of the areas that we're talking about have sheep problems are areas that are open to registration still.
Do you think they're less? I always envision them as more robust. Maybe like they can maybe go through a harsher winter than a sheep can. Is that not true? I mean,
I think they just have different. They have different risk factors. Like goats, they're seeing right now, like the goats over there in that leg where all the snow machiners are going up Spencer Glacier. There's a lot more air traffic there. The goats have anxiety, so they've like completely left that area. You know,
Okay.
like much fewer, and that goat and that anxiety, like in the winter, comes with like moving terrain they shouldn't be in because the way they go to the steepest thing, the safest stuff, and that's like avalanche danger. You have that kind of stuff where like on the sheep, you have the fall off, maybe not being like snow conditions as much, but in terms of like steepness and avalanches, but then you get bad snow years where they have a problem with mobility and they kill off with wolves and food stuff. So I think it's just like a different risk factor. But in terms of like the human factor on goats, and I'm not talking about goats on Kodiak, right? We're talking about natural goats.
It's a different deal.
Natural area goats were in their natural habitat where they were actually before. But these. There's not like registration goat areas that are common, right? Like where are registration goats other than permit areas that didn't get you didn't get to the kill quota. You know, almost every area is a drawing permit.
Okay,
and they're managed that way. And so if you kill like 3 nannies in the same year, it's shut down for 6 years.
Yes.
Like there's nothing like that happening in the Alaska Range or the Brooks Range or the Wrangles for sheep. That's my point.
Well,
is that a solution? Is that
Oh,
a
go
possible?
for it.
Is that a possible solution?
I want to hear what your thoughts are, because I mean, you want to see this from Boeing 737 level. You want to see it from the ground level.
Yeah.
This football level, where you want to see it from, because I've got a lot on this just from like through my 20s and then now and then guiding.
Let's
and
start
whatnot.
with boots on the ground and then go to the 40,000.
So sheep, like in a lot of the areas where you can access, even going as deep as you want for your average Joe Blow, doing hike-in hunts, wheeler hunts, Jeep hunts, march trunk hunts. Yeah.
That'd be me.
Right? A lot of those areas that's where like the sheep are just getting hammered.
Yeah,
Right.
actually.
And in 2012, 2013.
And those are registration areas.
No, they're for, sheep.
Just
Yeah.
harvest ticket.
So harvest ticket.
Yeah, harvest. Yeah, that's what I meant.
OTC. So 2012, 2013, there's back-to-back bad ones, like locally and in pockets around the state, because it's not everywhere. And actually, you think you hear it all, and then I'm in an airplane with Ben Stevenson, and I'm like, hey, so what's the deal? And he's like, well, I've talked to some old-timers, and this is what they think. So this is kind of like a theory. This isn't anything official or boots on the ground, but talking to Ben. He said, well, some of those older rams, the older rams from the 8 to the beyond, right, get whacked. And then some of these younger rams are like, well, we were saying screw you to that ram, and he was going to the promised land and living through the winters. So maybe they're not that smart and they haven't like learned that culture. That's the theory. But from a sage guide who's been flying in the Talkeetnas, out of Talkeetna, I can't tell you how long. He's probably in his he's probably in his 50s. He's in his 50s.
Old codger status?
Yeah, and he got it from his dad.
Yeah.
He flew.
Just seen that valley and that hill and that creek bed 1,000 times.
And so I've just been guiding for the last couple of years, and then just so happens that I've been hunting in these individual areas. And one year I went in, I'm like, got a ram swept out from underneath us. I was talking about that before we press record.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
And then on our way out, I'm like, we still got time. They're like, no, we're done. And I'm like, well, how about that ram that's right there? It's an 11-year-old Deborah Bremer. I'm risking losing a brother and a best friend. Say like, all right, boys, just go ahead and sit here and watch this. Yeah, I'm going
You
shoot
guys
it.
hit the record button.
Yeah.
Make sure you zoom in on this.
Kill shot, bud.
With the thumbs up.
So, and then I went in and killed a sheep there, and there was 2 other legal sheep with them. And so my first guided sheep hunt was like this big film project through Eric with Chad Mendez, Nathan Creech, Todd Harney. We went in there, and like that was the hardest hunt I've ever done. We went to the furthest reaches of his guide use area after the guide had already said like, hey, we should have him come another year. I'm like, we're going to get it done.
Yeah.
Confident.
Yeah, we're in here.
All get out. I'm like, yeah, they're going to come in a couple days. Like, we're going to go further and deeper. We got a mean crew. And we went there, did not turn up a single ram.
Damn.
That was worthy.
Yeah.
There was one 8-year-old where I was like, he's not not full curl. I believe he's 8, but I can't let you shoot him. And we looked at him. The guide went back this year and killed that ram. and that was the only one that they saw that was legal. So like that general
did he
area.
make full curl, or was he just 9?
No, he was shy, but he made full curl regulation under age.
Oh yeah.
And so he was 8, but you can't do that. I mean, you shoot it. Oh, he's 8. Well, Fish and Game might say he's actually 6 because of the regulation. So you can't bet that. And like some young sheep hunters think they know. Oh yeah, I know this. And there's a false annuline. They go in there, and that ram is freaking bumblebee penis away. Like, I'm talking this close.
Yeah.
And they take it from them, and it's like, oh. And then the different thing is you take it to a different Fish and Game office, and they might say, oh, yeah, he's 8.
That's insane. I mean, I've been saying that to everyone that I know that is going hunting and sheep hunting, and they're trying to count these things. And you go into Fish and Game, and they bring out everyone they have. There'll be 6 guys there looking at it, 3 different biologists, a trooper, and all these people looking at it, and they cannot come up with the same number. And you, like you said, you can go to Fairbanks, and you might get a whole different number. Or you go out to Toker, and you get a whole different number.
Yep.
So to me, it's like,
and they'll always err on the side of smaller, younger, too.
Give it 2 years, bud. If you think it's 8, and if it's not there, you might as well think it's 6. Like, that's my margin of error. I have to have 2 years because that first year bulge. Oh, one guy might say it's not it's different. It's just so different.
Yeah.
It's right there, and they came out that comprehensive. Like, I've got multiple copies. I'm sorry, Fish and Game. It probably costs a few bucks a copy, but like I keep them everywhere. And what I actually did was I've passed legal ram before when I was a young buck.
Mm-hmm.
And being like, oh, I'm Mission Alaska, I've got a blog. If you do anything wrong in the outdoor industry, you're done. You get blacklist canceled.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Like, with social media, people get that, buddy, you think meme.
Oh, man. Just amplified.
Oh, yeah. So you got to really just you got to make sure if you're walking away from a 9-year-old ram because it's not there, good on you. He might die from wolves. He might die from another hunter. It is what it is. You got to be good with the wholesome experience of breaking it off and knowing okay, this winter isn't going to suck as bad. I did it.
Yeah.
Take a picture. It's just easier for me to do these days. Just take a picture and walk away. So the dog sheep thing is very interesting. Now the goat thing, I'm going on ramble right now.
No, keep going. I want to circle back, but keep moving.
Okay.
I'm holding my thought on this.
So the goat thing, goats right now, they're closed down by registration, right? Or allocation. So that's the same with sheep.
Yeah,
that's
quota.
why quota, full curl regulation. That's why we have over the counter, because you're not going to, full curl regulation is they've got to be of a status that in theory you're never going to be able to kill the breeding class of rams. So even if there is a die-off, the 5 to 7s, 4 to 7s, they'll figure it out.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Now, goats is, a goat point. Let's say you pick a registration area, and without getting into too much of what I know from the guides and everything that I've been working for, and then all the information that I know about goats, because they're not as attractive to a lot of resident hunters. You go and kill one, you break it off. It's steeper terrain. It's a different hunt. You're like, oh, there the goat is. Let's go get him. And then you go up, and the key with goat hunting, you shoot him in a good retrievable
Absolutely.
you have to wait.
If you get lucky enough,
You have to wait until they get into a good position, and that's not always how it happens. So at any rate, unrecoverable goat counts as 1 point. Let's say a unit has 10 points. So you can register, and then it'll close immediately, as we all know, once it hits 10 points. Nannies count for 2. So if you shoot, people would just want to go out, oh, I'm out, sweet, I'm goat hunting. They go up, 2 nannies are killed, boom. That's 4. 3 nannies are killed, that's 6. Versus if you just killed 10 billies, you could kill 10 billies because they're there. And so the hunts that I went on this year, I've been out with buddies, and we've been to some of these areas where I'm like, I've been there, kill the goat there, kill the goat there. And then I'm like, wow, okay. I'm hunting it during moose season. I gave up moose season to go and guide for goats, because that's when a lot of the guide outfitters go and do it, right? Start their goat hunts so that they...
a little bit safer.
Well, there's not as many local badass residents with the toys that are going out, right? And close it quicker because all of a sudden, boom, one will close, next one close, next one will close. And everybody's just chasing it if they're in that area. And so that's where it goes with goats. The goats, like, there was monster billies and good billies, good numbers, but then you have the client to go and do it. Or are you a resident that is going to go up there and go do it? Like, I know what I would do. It's no problem.
Yeah.
But, well, I mean, it's not no problem. It's goat hunting. But
you work hard, you get the billy. If you don't get the billy,
the
then you come home.
right. And then some of them are really tough because these nannies are giant.
Yeah.
Where
It's hard to tell the difference.
that's the big thing, is telling the difference. Somebody thinks it's a huge nanny, and like nannies, like all the ADFG publications, they're like, hey, look at this, and then you see an outlier where you're like, girl, you bad.
Yeah.
Oh, you real bad. You don't have you're by yourself, you're 14 years old, you haven't been fighting, you haven't wore your horns, you just look good, and I'm sorry, you gone.
Yeah.
But that takes two. And then down there, the thing, if you take a nanny, and on the coast in like Kenai, if you take a nanny, even obviously it's legal without kids, but you can't hunt
For 4 years.
5
now?
Oh, you shut down, pal.
Yeah.
Oh.
So that's how they manage that. So that's where it's like the differences between like the sheep and
Yeah.
They populate a lot slower, those goats do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. Way slower.
Okay. Is that kind of why the management is? Yeah, go,
That's
Austin. What you got?
5 years usually takes like 5 years for them to reach sexual maturity to actually like create offspring. And even then,
Oh, wow. That's a long, I mean, just to even survive that long.
right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, they tough. They're really tough where they live.
There's
I
a really-
I love and passion for goats, man. I want one so bad, dude. I wanted to ask you, man, does a nanny eat better?
No, not necessarily. Like the same thing, like pronghorns, same thing. You know, be like, oh, it's garbage meat, or this is that. Like it's a lot how it dies, and where you shoot them, etc.
Which could be quick and clean, or really gnarly and.
Same with caribou. Are they in the rut? Are they at post rut? Like,
Yeah.
there's all the differences, but like good meat's good meat, and a good shot's good shot, even if they're rutted up. Like, it'll be good.
What's the? I'm gonna rabbit hole a little bit. What's the season? What's the season you want to eat them at? Like what?
The best
time of year?
tasting time?
Yeah, the taste time.
You want to be
Most
good.
desirable season for killing a goat to eat it.
This is the same with like.
Is it? Or do they? I mean, is it like a rut, like a moose, or like a?
It's
That's a
very
great question.
It's a
I never
later.
thought
It's a
about that.
later rut. I would have to imagine.
I think this is like a broad, right? Like the earlier you get them, they don't have necessarily like the cape that you're like, oh, I'm going for goat if I've
Yeah, if
got
you
it.
get the August, early September goat.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
you get great, and then like October, they start to rut in October. So
I
like,
think
you
it's
can
like
catch 'em.
mid to end.
Yeah, so like September's pretty good, and August is good. But like if you really want to go out and goat hunt, you go out while people are moose hunting. That's what you do.
Oh,
You commit.
Yeah, you got to
and you go out.
sacrifice.
Yeah.
They get their
That's
get
what
the long
that's
hair.
what I feel like I need to do. I've always wanted to go down to like Yakutat or do something like that. And I'm like, I just need to be like, boys, jet boat ain't coming moose hunting. I'm sorry. I'm going to go goat hunting. And like, I feel like unless I get a draw, like that's what I'm going to have to do. Or Kodiak, which is cool. Like I'm definitely, I would love to take a Kodiak goat, but I want to take a natural Alaskan goat, not one that was planted. No, I mean,
Can we explain that for the listeners?
Yeah.
What you mean? Because Jack had already brought it up before.
Who's going to break it down? Because my
Yeah,
knowledge
I mean,
on it is not anywhere
At some
close
point,
to.
they brought goats to Kodiak. I don't know what year it was, but they did. And they don't really have natural predators there so much, the brown bears, but
I don't think
You
a lot
guys
of bears
know?
are gonna-
I don't know.
Austin,
Austin?
do you know?
I know a tad bit from doing
I
the
think
research.
you probably
Alright,
know
yeah, let's hear it.
way more than me.
Oh
So
boy!
what-
So there was like
let it rip.
this is some like, oh boy, like Filsoned tin canvas, like bad boys
Old school black and white photo shit.
wrestled up some goats with nets into Kenai, and then planed them over to Kodiak.
They didn't like put them to sleep and do the whole thing.
They wrestled their ass up with nets.
Stress the fuck out of them. They're just in the plane, just like,
oh, you can't survive,
eye twitching
bud.
and shit.
I mean, like they made like whatever did like the chlorophyll, like
Yeah.
used the cloth.
They came in the middle of the night.
like laying on them.
They
Poor
didn't know a
goats, man.
spider
Oh, yeah.
web.
Poor goats.
I don't know how many died in the process, but that's how they came from the Kenai Peninsula. And then like I'm like, man, I want those dudes autographs.
Year it is.
Those are pro hunters.
You could Google it up and
we should.
But
ADFG's got a really good art.
Yeah, look
they
it
do.
up.
They
right?
do.
Night?
Okay, I'm on it.
Like the 50s or something like
I
that.
believe it was in the 50s. May have been a little bit later.
Well, how are they
it's a
going
long
to
time
do?
ago.
How are they going to do when they bring the Sitka blacktail to the Homer area?
They should do that.
Well,
They're
I was
going- they
listening
are.
to another Caleb over there at Explore Alaska when you had Governor Dunleavy on, and he was talking about that.
They're going to actually do that?
It's just an idea. I don't know where they are with it.
Bring the pheasants too.
Yeah,
That's what
Yeah.
my response is. Yep, that's what we need to do.
over there into those Caribou Hills and all that
That
area.
would be
I mean,
awesome.
Just run wild. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah,
Were
you
they
say
ever
that now.
native to that area? No.
I don't think so.
Not the pheasants, but the
No, I don't think so.
blacktail.
Yeah, the problem would be I'm not a biologist, so that's where I get a lot of my information, like Palmer ADFG, name drop Brockman, Chris Brockman. Yeah, he's like, don't take pictures of me for social media. But he helped me like do all the cheat codes. So like for aging legal sheep, where I went in there, I'm like, I've been passing legal sheep. And I ask him a lot. And he's not like, they pass it on. Oh, we're neutral on this, or that's ADF&G. But it's like, as far as habitat goes, is the introduction going to affect the local like moose population?
Right.
And that's where you'd get like the constituents of the area, and people like, oh, well, just okay moose hunting year to year down in Homer. Is this going to affect us?
Yeah.
So that's like the one concern.
What about the bison, man? Let's let the bison run.
Real
out
quick,
there, too.
real quick.
That would be
Factoid.
sick.
The bison would do good.
Yeah.
I think all the species would be fine together. Kodiak's mountain goat population originated from 11 females and 7 males, which were transplanted from the Kenai Peninsula to Hidden Basin area during 1952 and 1953. Austin, very well done, sir.
You're gonna hit the mark.
That bathroom's really cold back there for some reason, too.
Yeah, bring your
Down to
bring
the
your mittens.
Yeah. Did you go in there?
No.
It's so cold. I'm like surprised that the pipes aren't frozen. 1952-53, success of the transplant was not realized until 1964, which is 11 years later, when 26 goats were observed in the Crown Mountain area. The first hunting season was authorized in 1968, and permits have been issued since then. We currently estimate that the goat population of Kodiak is at about 3,200 goats, with all suitable habitat being utilized, which makes sense. Plus, Kodiak, I feel like, has so much food, so much terrain, so much open country, so much ability to evade predators that it makes sense that they would
And more temperate.
flourish.
Yeah,
Too.
the more temperate.
Temperate.
Yeah.
Very good point, Daniel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Because Kodiak's winter, I'm sure they're having a real winter this year because it's been cold as fuck.
Yeah.
But
Their snow load's not the same.
no, it's not. And it comes later. So I think the goats have time to like nutrition up and get fat. And
That's
so they're
true.
feeding like all the way up until, well, shit, the last 5 years, they've probably been doing really, really good.
Yeah.
And then also the natural predator, I mean, is the brown bear. It has plenty of other food resources most of the year. And then at this time of
It's
year,
not chasing goats around.
They can
I mean,
get
I have to-
deer. There's
yeah.
so many deer.
Yeah.
So
And
Yeah.
salmon that they're
Yep.
feasting
Well,
on.
yeah, they're not getting
salmon
big,
come
fat, and
all winter there.
Yeah.
getting chunky
steelhead.
on goats, man. Like,
Well, if
mean,
anyone wants to read more up on that, if you go to ADF&G website there and just probably put in the search Kodiak
Austin,
goat,
you nailed it, dude. The 50s.
it'll give you a nice little
Those
information
guys were
there.
G's, man. Like, I mean, first off, what aircraft were they even using back then? And then,
Probably
A
just their
beaver?
thighs,
I mean-
the thigh power. They probably just carried them back to a truck.
Jesus, dude.
Just
Have you-
manimals.
Have you ever packed a goat, one full goat by yourself?
Oh yeah, okay. I want to get to that. I want to get into that solo insane goat hunt that you did. But we got to give a shout out real
We
quick
gotta go.
to
Yep. Do
the
it.
to the boys that are paying for this. The Treehouse AK, your one-stop dispensary located at 341 Boniface Parkway. Be sure to ask the bud tender about their deal of the day, because honestly, there's always something good on deck. And guys and girls, listen, this is where the culture lives. At the Treehouse, their dedication to servicing consumers has been developed through a lifetime of involvement in the cannabis culture. They're committed to providing the highest quality products at whatever value your budget affords, while always maintaining the deep-rooted principles that have carried them this far. Their focus is on relationships over transactions, and you can always depend on them to treat you with the respect you deserve. Hit them up at thetreehouseak.com, and remember, you must be 21 years of age to enter their store.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, my personal go-to for authentic Mexican food. It's Anchorage's own new generation of cocina. All recipes are inspired by their rich heritage and family know-how. Ingredients are made in-house. They have 2 new tequila bars, one on both locations, Tudor and Northern Lights. I like the Mescalita. You should try it. Follow their food truck location on Instagram. The food truck will be back in January. And check out their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
Tailored Restoration, 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, post-repair, and remodeling. Tailored has an emergency response number with trained professionals available to help you anytime, day or night. Give them a call in their Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, and Fairbanks offices. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com. You do not have to be 21 to enter their office.
Where is their office?
I just said it. Eagle River, Anchorage. Actually, they have like a badass home base on King Street, I think.
That's right.
Their main
That's right.
spot.
That's right.
I think that's where that's where the
you've only read that about 48 times.
Yeah, that's where the boss has his little penthouse spot. And
just goat furs everywhere.
Man, they had a killer hunt too, man. Those guys.
Yeah,
they went to Kodiak this year. No goats, but deer.
Yeah,
for days.
Yeah,
fully. When Cropper said we limited out, I'm like, what'd you go fucking fishing? Like, I was like, I don't ever hear anybody talk about a hunting trip, and they're like, yeah, we limited out. I'm like, whoa, wait, what?
That's tough talk.
They're like 22 deer or something like that. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Just got after it.
It's badass.
They probably didn't get a moose that year.
They did. They got a spike fork. Yeah, they got three beautiful bulls killed right out from under them, up in 16. But they got 2 beautiful, like 53 and a 57 or something the year before, in the area that they went to. Kalik almost got attacked by a bear, so that was interesting. Ended up shooting a bear when he was about to shoot a moose.
Let me say something about that real quick. I've been getting in contact with people that have crazy bear stories. We want to do like a little series on that. Kalik is one of them.
I gotta record because his story is badass. Because he's a rookie. Okay, hold on, Kalik. I love you, bro. All due respect. I can say he's a rookie because he's not a rookie. He like hunted in years past. Been out of the game a while. Getting back in the game these last 2 or 3 years, really getting into it, man. He, like the deer hunt, you guys were supposed to go with him.
Yeah.
This last weekend, man, he hits me up on Friday. All right, man. I'm like, what do you think I should do for gear? I'm like, all right, well, I think you should bring it all because you never know. It's gonna be cold. I don't think it's gonna be wet, but if you get ocean spray on the boat and you dunk the dinghy, and now you're gonna sit on the dinghy and then go up to shore. Now your butt's gonna get wet, and there's just all this stuff and. Got him on some other sites to look for some gear to go hunting because he went out 2 years ago, and it was like their first hunt was like 75 degrees. And they were getting eaten by bugs and like wearing basketball shorts. And then they went last year, and it was like, I think their first hunt, there was, frozen puddles and shit. And he brought not a good enough bag, not a good enough gear. And he was like, well, fuck, I was just thinking I was going to be like last year. I'm like, dude, you always got to prepare for it to be cold.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Well, let's get him in to talk the story. And the point of it was,
if there's, because I was going to just
full rep hole.
If
there's anyone out there that's listening, and maybe you have a pretty intense bear story, or you know someone that has a bear story, please reach out to us, whether it's Instagram or at our email or whatever. Just shoot me a note, because I'm starting to get all these people's names down so that we can schedule them in to either come in or we can call you, just so we get the story so that we can begin to build this little series of Alaska beartails.
We got to scare our youth.
Yeah, I mean, well, the reason I do that is because I've said before on the podcast, when I used to go camping and hunting and fishing and stuff with my dad, that was the book I would bring. I would bring Alaska Beartails book, 1 and 2, and just scare the shit out of myself. And it's like, man, we got to scare the kids, or scare the adults that are listening. I mean, everyone already has a little bit of fear.
That was on the banned Lau's book reading list as a kid.
But the thing is all the people that are going to tell this story are survivors. So, you can make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I think more than just the fear, but like preparing the youth or preparing really anybody. You talk about like rookies or greenhorn, like you lose your greenhorn real quick when you go out and you learn like, okay, I like that. It sucked, but I want to go back. The one thing is like, don't ever put your rifle down anywhere where you can't grab it.
That's right.
Like within arm's reach, right?
Yeah.
And we all learned that, and we can all go into stories about that, but like, and this shit's life or death legitimately in certain situations where you're like, oh, I was just like gutting a moose, I didn't think it was a big deal, and then there's a bear right on top of you. So I think that'd be a great, it's like, fearful, but it should just drive the fear of like, keep that handgun rifle real handy and be prepared for the worst.
It's a humble reminder of why they're called apex predators. They are the king of their jungle. They are nothing else hunts them except for them when they're babies, right? Like bears hunt bears, but then there comes a time when they stop hunting that bear because the bear got big enough and there's nothing else that hunts it other than Mother Nature and mortality. But to your point, never let your guard down.
Yeah, and I mean the point is not really to scare people, but just create awareness by people saying whatever situation. I mean, I have a certain tale that I'm gonna say whenever we do the series.
Yeah,
but it's just so that people can be like, wow, it could happen just like that. You just went to change your hook on your line, or you just went to take a piss, and next thing you know, you're face to face with this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and so it's just to give some real awareness by people that have really been in a situation that maybe you overthought or maybe you didn't think about at some point when you're out there adventuring, because at one point or another you go out enough, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You're going to come into an encounter for sure.
Well, and not even just bears. You guys want to talk about blowing it real hard by not having your gun ready when the big bull came in and you were dropping a deuce?
Yeah.
Or like, whatever. I wasn't ready,
there's plenty of those stories.
We've only got 2 wolf opportunities at moose camp ever, like true ones, because it's so thick, and both of them are from the shitter, and one of them was missed because of that.
Yeah, I was just staring at you like,
just in that little meadow down there, that little spot where you overlook.
It was on the old spotting hill.
Oh, okay.
So it's actually even harder. It's less open than that.
Yeah,
it's just this one little game trail, and they would cruise right by.
Yeah. We got some trivia queued up.
Oh, sure.
All right, guys.
Oh boy.
Let's
Are you ready, Austin?
Did you study? Did you get the show notes?
Bring it on.
We're fully expecting you to win.
Trivia time. Trivia with Jack Lau.
Where did that come from? Was it creepy? That's what I want to know. Did it creep you out?
Trivia.
It's okay if it did.
It's way better in my earbuds right here than it is in the truck.
Where you pull over like, what the fuck was that?
What's going on there?
I look back at my kid.
It's like daddy's.
Who is that? It's a ghost in the truck.
You want to?
Actually,
I'll film this one.
Oh.
All right, Jackie, let's hit it.
All right. Well, this one's kind of
just run it. Yeah,
this one's kind of a little fun. So in 2015, this man was named and elected to the city council in North Pole, Alaska.
Multiple choice is?
Oh, there's not.
Oh.
I'll reread it a different way. In 2015, a man legally named blank was elected to the city council in North Pole, Alaska.
Legally named?
So we're December 14th.
I'm going to go with Marty.
Marty the Party.
Doesn't even have a last name, just Marty.
I'm going to go with Perry Monzula. One of the biggest bad boy running backs that ever came out of North Pole for show.
Wow. Oh, there was another one. What was the other North Pole boy?
I don't know. I only know Perry.
Perry? Is that the one?
Oh,
Talking about the one from Lathrop?
Oh, man, he was
There
from
was
up
this
there.
badass dude from Lathrop, man. I remember being a freshman in high school and going to a camp, and this dude rolled up with like 40-inch guns and a fucking mustache. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, I barely got hair on my nuts, dude. And this dude, Mike Kolowski.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I have no idea who the hell that is, but it just seems like that guy.
It's December in North Pole, Alaska.
So it's Bill Brasky.
Something with a ski, man, I'm pretty sure.
Legally named Santa Claus.
Legally named Santa Claus?
Yeah, dude. So, I mean, December, North Pole. Come on.
Okay.
That
was very
I
Christmas
thought that
time.
would be a fun one.
That was. Okay.
All right. Yeah,
All right.
sorry.
Yeah.
I botched
That might
it.
be a good one for the trivia, though. Online.
Not feeling it, Austin? No, I know.
I know.
You took it really seriously.
Okay. Now I did. How do we buzz in?
No, you just say it. You just go. Just say it. Just go.
Yeah, you just say.
You just blurt, just vomit it out.
Okay.
All right, we going for round 2?
Let's do it, please.
So, can anyone explain how the name Alaska came about and where it was derived from?
Something,
I know this.
something Russian, right?
Mitchner.
Oh, come on. You read it 3 times, Austin.
I skipped.
You skimmed that part? It's kind of like the most important part of the book, but I kind of skimmed past
It's
that.
got to be with like several of the. How did this name get its name? Where it was like, oh, I think you're saying this, but it was really this.
Oh, I think you're right.
Does it have anything to do with Russia, though?
Could be. It's like,
Jack, am I onto something?
We can split it in 2 questions. So
I'm down.
let's split it up. So one is, what culture was the name Alaska derived from? And then what's the meaning of the word that it was derived from? So 2 questions.
Got it. I'm going to say it comes from Russian heritage.
I already answered that part. But
Did you?
Yeah.
And
Okay,
you
well, we
said
can both.
Russian too? Okay.
Okay,
So
that's my first guess for
I'm
part 1.
co-answering with you on that part.
And
Well, let's just answer the first part
Okay.
first, Austin.
I believe it came maybe, working off what you guys have said. The Russians is like maybe interior. I, even though that's not where the Russians first made contact, but I believe maybe it came from the like interior Athabaskan.
okay.
I'm gonna, yeah.
Okay.
Something to do with the
Okay,
land
so
bridge and the whole thing.
I'll answer that part, and then we
Yep.
can go to the second. So the name Alaska is derived from the Aleut word Alaskak. Alaskak. I can't say it right, but it's Alax and then an S and then XAQ. Alask.
All right. And what was the second part of the question?
Wait. Where did they get that from? The Aleuts.
So that's the second part of the question, right? Is what
Even deeper.
that word that was that the name Alaska was derived from? What's the meaning of that word?
I'm going to say untouched land.
The northernmost point. No, that wouldn't be right, would it?
This is the hardest trivia ever. So any answer
Well,
is
and as all of our listeners know, we kill it on trivia.
we're the best.
Especially me. They're like, wow, Brandon really knows this shit. I'm like, yeah, well, I actually fake it so I make you guys sound smarter.
If we all knew it, it wouldn't be fun.
Austin, I feel like
Oh,
you kinda know
hey!
something.
I used the ranch one today at our staff.
Oh, you
our
did?
staff
Oh,
party.
wow, man.
Yep. No one believed
That,
me.
what
dude.
a hell of a factoid, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Austin, did you know
Gomez
ranch
didn't
originated
like
in
that
Alaska?
one.
The what?
Ranch.
Ranch dressing?
I did. I think I heard it on this podcast.
Hey, there
Wow.
it is. Listen, we're
I think
we're
during
inspiring and
trivia.
educating the
Someone
people.
got smarter listening to this podcast. That makes me proud,
It
man.
happens. Mark it down on the
There's some
calendar.
ups
Yeah.
and downs on that one.
We call those true believers.
Okay, you said the northernmost. I said
Northernmost point. Something.
untouched land. Austin.
Best there ever was.
But
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
The goat. You're saying it's the goat.
The goat.
Oh.
So It means, paraphrase, the mainland, but more literally, the object towards which the action of the sea is directed. That's the literal translation.
So it means the ocean pushed the land the furthest north.
Yeah.
You won.
The mainland.
Thank you.
The mainland.
Thank you.
Or
I
any
know.
direction.
Again, listeners, everything comes out of my mouth. Full truth.
Can we do a do-over for 500?
Yeah. I think they want that every week.
Yeah. Listen to the vacuum sealer one.
Oh, wow. You want to hear about some smart guys on that one.
Oh man.
Yeah.
The vacuum sealer. That was fun. That was hilarious.
How do I articulate this way so I'm not an asshole?
Yeah, I might have felt the dumbest I've ever felt in my life.
I did
that
totally
one.
did not mean to make you feel that way.
It's okay. I'm good with it.
You're a super smart dude.
Yeah.
You guys
like to
want
believe
to like extra credit, a bonus trivia?
Yeah, let's
you
do
got
it.
one.
Let's
Okay.
do it. I
Okay.
never get a play. So.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, that's
you
true.
did-
Jack
wow,
never gets to
Jack,
play.
you're
Okay,
up,
okay,
dude.
okay.
Bonus trivia. Okay, so what is the actual name for McKinley, Foraker, and Hunter?
Ooh.
Damn, Dana Wright would be like, I know.
Yeah. My great uncle told me.
Really?
That's what.
So why don't you remember?
That's what Dana would.
That's what Dana Ray would say.
Oh, he would. Yeah, gotcha. Durr.
So you can break it down in multiple parts, but let's talk about McKinley. What was it originally named, and what was it changed back to?
Denali.
Okay. Boom.
Sign me up, dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got this.
And then we can just go into Foraker
Foraker, man, I
and
should know
Hunter.
I want to say it's like Tanina. Maybe that's probably my guess. Like a Tanina.
I have no clue.
Drawing a blank.
So
Moose's tooth.
Denali.
Yeah.
The tooth of a moose.
Buffalo Ranch chicken salad.
I was thinking more like Ranch BLT, but, you know.
crazy moose.
Tut-tut-lit.
Chicken bacon ranch.
Yeah.
Legit. So Denali, the great one.
Yep.
And then you have Sultana, and Baguya.
Whoa.
And Bagaya. I'm
Bagaya,
Denali's
Sagaya,
pretty
whatever
easy,
you gotta do.
but it's the great one, the wife, the partner, and the little one.
Oh,
Like
that's super
Oh,
cool.
like a familia.
The perfect family.
Yeah.
And so that is Denali, Sultana, Baguya, and that was named something, which is just badass, and it got changed by people who hadn't came here, hadn't been involved at all in Alaska. So like, one thing that Obama did that I thought was cool was he went there and changed back, but I don't believe it should have been changed in the first place. Right. So that was my extra credit bonus.
Yeah, that's good. I love it.
That was good.
That was a good
I'm gonna
that was
go home and read about this.
That was a factoid.
That was,
That
a,
was a great
factoid.
one.
I like it. Thanks for coming through with the straight switch up audible flip it around on us move.
Yep.
'Cause
Omaha.
Yeah.
Omaha. Yeah, like you came through like, oh, let me hit you with some knowledge, motherfuckers.
I had to win something.
He read that 1/4 of the book 4 times.
Yeah, this part I definitely remember. The name of Alaska, how it came apart. I skimmed that part.
I didn't have that part of the book.
No,
No, I don't think it was.
The page was ripped out.
Yeah,
in every single copy you bought.
She gone.
She gone.
She
gone. You brought up Chad Mendez, and I'm a big UFC guy.
Oh, yeah.
And that dude's just an animal. I know he's big out into the outdoors. But as I was watching your page, and I don't think it was a video, I think it was just a picture or something that you posted up with these guys, or maybe he posted it. And on that sheep hunt, I just noticed that there was like 7 guys.
Yeah, there was. So we had like it was just really me who was assistant guiding. The guide was in a different part of the field, but he was out there. And then it was a 2-on-1 where there was Nathan Creech, Kestrel Knives, then Chad Mendez, and then Todd Harney, and they're all boys. And I'm like, well, if Todd's coming, he's not trying to shoot anything. He's just going to be like a packer. Great. So we got a packer. And then there was 2 cameramen.
Okay.
That came as like part of the real deal, and they were hiking in like the new 4K Reds, like brand new. and you know, they were hurting because they've never done like a mountain hunt like that ever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh boy, what did you guys bring? And then like they started pulling out, literally they were the size of bricks, like twice this. And they brought 9 of them, and they were
Batteries?
yeah. I'm like, you guys aren't going to be able to make it.
Yeah.
So I took 3. Okay. Then it turned into 4 because then they would like just be junk.
Yeah,
Once
once
they
they're
got
dead,
burned.
they're gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like Todd took some because Todd's like another just mountain reaper. Like he's got prize thighs.
Yeah.
Pal.
Yeah.
And
Puts it in 4 low and just gets
goes.
after it.
And then one of the camera guys who never actually had been on a mountain hunt, just twisted steel sex appeal, young guy with, you know, bowling ball calves.
Twist of steel sex.
Twisted steel.
Twisted steel sex appeal.
Yeah.
These mottos though, like you're saying them fast. I can't write them down fast enough, but man, I gotta start throwing these things around.
Oh boy.
So when you guys went out, then full intention was to split up, or you guys are like, man, that's got to be hard, 7 dudes. Like we went one time, 4 of us, and I was like, man, this is a lot. This is too many people.
Well,
Like
you know,
max 4 guys
with
big
their
time.
cameras and everything, I just like put it into play of like, all right, is there 2 legal sheep? Is there not? Fortunately, unfortunately, we did not find a legal sheep. So like even on the one ram we went, there was 3 of us. It was just me and Chad, and it was 1 legal ram and a cameraman, and the other guys stayed, and they would run, like we had hand signals if like it got away or whatever to shoot.
Yeah.
And obviously if they heard us shoot, we would shoot, or they would shoot. But for that one ram, but we never got on a double situation, so they would stay far off with their videography equipment,
Yeah.
cameras and whatnot. So that was what it was. It was a really tough hunt, and it was the hardest hunt that I have done, excluding like a pack out. Like if there was a pack out at the end, even though there was that many guys who would have broken it up, but it still would have been as heavy for me because I'm getting all this camera gear or batteries. So it would have been like the hardest sheep hunt that I've done.
Yeah.
Wow. What range?
The Wrangles.
Wrangles. Nasty.
Yep. Wrangles. So that was the one hunt that ate up my sleigh, was those condors.
Just shredded those souls
Just
all
shredded
up.
them up.
Yep, gone. So those are like my lawn mowing dad boots now.
Go to Side Hill, the little hill in your yard, and slip. Like, whoa, hey. These things are.
Well, let's talk more about the filming of hunts, because you know, we filmed several hunts, and you filmed obviously on different levels of filming hunts, and
Yeah.
where you got camera guys
Post
come in,
status.
and you've done stuff with Tim Burnett and Solo Hunter and all that stuff. What are some of the like snafus or difficulties that you find when you are actually having to film and hunt at the same time, or do you try not to separate that?
Depends on who I'm with and like the vibe before we go out, but the best camera that you have is the one that you're using, right? So like even like iPhones now,
Yeah.
where there's a lot of footage that you don't even know that's in Solo Hunter. That's just like spur of the moment. GoPro's away, big camera, this is happening, and it's right here. iPhone is out, there's a story, it's happening. GoPro is out, whatever it is, and you just try to like piece it all together. And before you go, obviously try to set like all of your specs up to match one spec. So whether it's 4K or, you know, a step below, 1920 by 1080, and
Yeah.
your frame rate is just going to help with the editing process. So at the end, when you pull it all in and you're starting to lace all this different footage together from a bunch of different small cameras, if you have it all very similar, it'll come in and then use less memory on your computer or your hard drive. That being said, like a 4K or a Red that's shooting 8K or whatever it is, like
Yeah.
I don't dive into that because it's way too expensive.
Those are
and,
insane.
yeah, they're trying to crop in on certain individual things so they get the shot, is what it is. But it just kind of it depends on what you're really doing it for. Are you doing this for like the love of it? Or are you doing it for trying to make money? You want to dive into trying to make money in the outdoor industry from doing digital marketing or filming your own stuff? Boy, we're going to need another sit down and a lot more Caribou calls.
Oh yeah.
So it's interesting. I would say like a phone scope and a spotting scope. If you're going to try to get a kill shot, if you're like patient enough and you can do that, that's like pretty killer with an iPhone. And then you start talking about like point and shoots with like image stabilizer, like small point and shoots. Those are great too, but they only last so long with moisture or batteries, etc.
Yeah.
And then I'm a bull in a china shop. Like I'm a guy who played hockey, and I've got like divots in my face mask from like going down and blocking shots. Like hard on gear.
Hey, we know a guy
hard
like
on
that.
the gears. Yeah,
Hard
A
on
couple
gear.
guys like
if
that.
that stitch will break, I'll break it.
Test it out.
Yep.
Well,
ain't
I
broken,
think
if
this
I
works
think
or not.
initially when we started filming hunts is mostly just for the memories of it.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
like
yeah.
the true just like
Documentation.
documentation of what we went through and what to do, and you know, to put it on YouTube so your friends and family can see it, and just to enjoy it again. Like obviously cameras and stuff have gotten a lot better, and you know, I think the first one we filmed with, you know, like iPhone 4.
Yep.
You know, or whatever, and it's gone up from
Wasn't
there to
really that bad.
GoPros and, you know, all these other fancy cameras and stuff. But really, it's just so that you can eventually go back and see it. And I have a love-hate kind of relationship with editing. Just by the way your face, I feel like you feel the same way.
You got, how many children do you have?
I have 2,
How old?
8 and 10.
So they're at school. You might have a little bit of free time to like get into creative process. Maybe.
No, I go and I will do like
He finds his pockets. He's good at
I
it.
find my pockets of doing it, but then I just like will just go away from it and like have to come back and revisit it and be like, I didn't like that, and
Yeah.
come back, and it's just like, man, it's I almost equate it to when I used to do music and write songs. You want to complete the entire song, and to go from like writing the first verse and the chorus and then come back to try to finish the song, you have a whole different feel, a whole different vibe. Do you feel that way? Like it's almost like you got to almost bang that whole thing down in 1 or 2 sessions, or it just like goes awry, and then you have another thing that you got to edit or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh,
it never
amen.
gets finished or whatever.
Got like 6 or 7 films that I've been doing, like where I've got them up. I put them in the timeline. Like, no, like come listen to music again. No. But I find the best films that I can do, like if I can just, boy before kids, oh, man, if I was feeling frisky and like, all right, I got my jog in, I got my workout, shot the bow, like I may have done something fun, get a hike in, like, oh yeah, I come back and I could just murder. But now it's like, okay, that breakup of like a quadratic equation. I always talk about mathematics, quadratic equation. You sit there, you gotta be in the flow. You gotta be in control.
Yeah.
You can't have someone pinching your arm, pulling your leg, throwing stuff, pencils at you, whatever. You have to sit there and focus. And so I feel like when you get into that flow, like obviously you know, like when you're in the flow, Joe, it's go time. And some of the best ones that I've done, even for solo hunter, where I would sit down, where okay, I may have slept in or whatever. My wife gave me the day off. You know, I got the kid care all dialed, like the later films. And before I didn't know, I was just like doing before children, like just editing them, putting them together and thinking about timelines and, oh, this feels good. I'm going to use this music. Even though people are like, your music sucks.
Oh, every time.
I hate you. Like,
Yeah, you can never get it right.
well,
I mean,
I'm glad you liked the video. I didn't like it. I wasted 7 minutes of my life.
hey, we've heard that before.
Thank you for that.
2 hours of my life I can't get back.
Yeah.
Still watch it.
I just-
Still watch the whole thing though.
yeah. So I don't care about that as much. It's like, it's just kind of like, well, now you guys talk about, oh, I was doing it to like remember it and all that. So now I've got a little bit different of a process. But there was a period, you know, when I linked up with Tim and like Soul Hunter, did Alaska Outdoors TV, and it was like in this process where I didn't have the kid influence, and I was just kind of like peaking of like focus, time, flow, life, lifting, weights, like everything was good. And so it all just came together. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And now the interruption factor is just like, okay, well, I have an hour right now and I'll sit down. I'm like, all right, let me go back through
Don't get
and watch
nothing
it.
done.
14 minutes in. Okay, I didn't like that. Let me do this. Let me do that. Okay. 30 minutes in, it's like, okay, all right. And at 45, I'm like, oh, I got to go get my kid. And then I got to go back, and now I've got all these different projects that I've got into like a digestible manner where I can look at them. But like that time you need to sit down, away, like a hunt, just be gone for 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, whatever. And just once you get your music and everything, like, all right, I remember what this was like. I remember the feeling. I remember what this was about. I remember it all.
Yeah.
Whether it's like, oh, this was, let me put this to an overarching piece about the industry, or killing for content, or doing whatever, like making all, you see all these films, people do like a flash in the pan and do like a couple videos, and then they're just like, pff, gone. Yeah. You're like, oh, that was a cool film. And then they're just gone because they realize how much time it took and what they were doing it for.
Yeah.
So like killing for the gram. What I find with like the editing now, what really keeps me going is like like my kids, my wife, like it's like this time capsule. So I love our hunts to do together, and like relive them. That's like my favorite. And my kids are, oh yeah, let's watch that again. And then I'll put one on, and they're like, oh, let's see it again, or let's watch the next one, which is really cool. I've done that a lot with the kids, which I'm like, yes.
How old are your kids?
So 3.5 and 10 months.
Okay.
So
little.
Yeah.
Well, there'll be a point, which is funny, where now my son is 10.
Yep.
Where he's like, when are you gonna make me a video for me? Like he wants to do like ice fishing videos and fishing videos and all this stuff, and he's like thinking about merch and all that stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see where this is going.
Yeah. But that's the new passion where you can sit down with him and then like, you know, Brandlin Shockey him, you know, like jam. Like,
there you go.
Yeah.
This is what I need you to do, boy.
Yeah, here you go, son. Which is, you know, kind of funny. He's not really that much into hunting, but that dude's like the creative genius.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So that's what really like got me into it. It wasn't like I was trying to learn for other brands and trying to learn how to make it in the outdoor industry, and then I've navigated my way into like, okay, a doll sheep is this much money, this is that. We're like, okay, it's tangible, but it was never really for guiding because it took a natural resource, and some guy from the lower 48 was taking it away, regardless of who he was. Now I'm kind of like, oh, well, like, I've been down, I want to go to lower 48, and like, I want to be a guy who takes something, and I might be taking something from someone else. And then some people are deserving, right? Like, even if you don't have all the money in the world and you run into a guy who's an electrician, or maybe he's, you know, a big dog electrician, whatever, where money is, I am counting every penny and I want to come do this. It's an experience of a lifetime. Like, you're the one. And you have this phenomenal adventure together, and they walk away with something. I'm like, I'm glad that you walked away with that than another Alaskan with a 16th ram, you know, where you're like, dude, I'm glad it's just one and done.
Right.
And so inspiration for me with Mission Alaska and everything, it may not be polished or whatever, every individual aspect, but my other best friend, John Knapp, not John Dykes, from college, dude from Philly, right? Straight out of Philly, fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know, but he and we played rugby. We had this like big bond, and there was just time that went by. We're like, oh, we got to do something. And he said, man, I've been watching your videos. Like, we just got to do a hunt. You live in Alaska, and he's not going to do like an Alaska trip to just like hang out. And he came up on this moose hunt, Yukon moose hunt, like from Palmer all the way down the Yukon and all the way back. And we went
28-day one.
No, no. This is a jet boat one. It was 14 days. We signed up, and you know, there's those hunts that like you go with someone who's like completely untested, and they may talk tough, they may not, and they just get broken in half, and it's like, oh, this was so bad. We all know hunt enders where you're like, well, we can't really leave. You can pay $3,000 to like fly out of here right now, or you can just like sit and be a tent monkey. You never really know. And we went through some stuff like some hardcore training for Penn State rugby. That's where we met, and he came up, open arms, went through the suck, went shoulder deep on a moose, packed that SOB out, packed another one out, was just a freak, missed a bear. He had a bear tag, went and got his hunter safety before he came. I was like, hey, this is the first step. He did all this stuff. And like, I inspired him, one of my best friends I could never convince to like, come hunting with this, what I love. You know, oh, come play rugby. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm done with competitives, like men's league sports. Like, you can't turn the wolf off. So I'm over all that. And he's just like, yeah, I'm going to do it. He did everything, and he came, and now he's like an inspiration to me. Like, before I came here, I just dropped off a compound bow that I had, because now after that moose hunt where he came up, he's like, I want to do another one. I want to do another one.
Oh, he's on it. Yep.
And now he's trying to kill a buck in Pennsylvania, right?
Oh, wow.
Which is
okay.
awesome. And now hunting season, like I'm FaceTiming him. I'm with him because I've killed a bunch of deer in Pennsylvania, and sneaking out between rugby and classes, whatever else. And he went and he like struck out, and now he's learning the nuances of hunt camp and people not like really being serious. And he's like, man, I just wish we were together. I want to go do something. You still have whitetail season. You still have your tag. It's archery season. Then it's flintlock. So I just sent him down a bow because he went and he got kitted up, like my bow, Bear Arena 30. Because, like, you know, what's another bow sitting in my garage, right? I killed a buck MPA with that bow. It's legit. And I just dropped it off to get sent to him so he can continue his season.
Nice.
And, like, those calls just fire me up. He's like, dude, I'm going to the stand. I'm like, all right, let's talk about it. Like, I will take time that I should be editing or looking at my kid.
Scenario, like, what's going on?
Right?
What's the weather? What's the temperature?
My kid might be crying. Hold on. I'm going to pull this off of the car Bluetooth and just go to the phone. Yeah. It's terrible, but that's, you know, what I live for is like the inspiration aspect. That's, and that's what he's doing, whether it's his, like his first whitetail or like someone who comes up to me and is like, dude, I watched your video on goat. I want that now. What do you have? And I'm like, my problem is I give away like way too much information freely because I want to see people succeed. But I didn't bring an Alaska Gazetteer. I don't ever let anybody look at my Onyx.
Nobody gets those waypoints?
No. Actually, I've got dummy waypoints. Like it looks like a scatterboard.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, this is a sweet spot. No, it's not.
It's not a tip right
That's
there.
a breadcrumb trail to the wrong area.
I'll never send anybody to like a bad area, and like information given. If somebody says something like, "Hey," if they're fishing, I know. But if they know, let's talk.
Got it.
So,
Got it.
Yeah.
kind of a Rain Man for.
They start talking your language, and then you start feeling it. You're like, we're kind of talking about the same spot here.
Just go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and say it. Say my name. Say your name.
What is it?
Say it.
What creek are you by?
Come on.
Yep, right there. Yep. Okay. Well, we skipped over the solo goat hunt deal.
Oh yeah,
God, dude.
Yeah, I've known a couple guys that have done it. I was over at my neighbor's place a couple of years back, and he's got a nice little trophy room. He's probably in his mid-50s, and he's killed everything. And he actually did his own full goat mount. Like he's got the like badass. He built the stone base, and he's like his like basement's not big enough for it, but he's just got this goat like in the corner. It's like you walk down, you're like, whoa, shit! There's
the whole room.
There's a goat right there. It's like as big as that table over there. It's a Valdez goat, and he said I think it was his brother-in-law or some family member, extended family member he took, and it was the one hunt that guy went on with him, one and only, because they each got a goat, and they both packed it out, and the guy swears he took 10 years off of his life by taking him on this goat hunt where they both got a goat, and Bob said, like, I'm pretty sure my back's like never going to be the same, just because of the sheer weight and torture, and I think that goat hunt's pretty short. I think it's like they just ran the boat up on the beach, went up, got a goat, like spent 2 nights and came down. But
that's how a lot are if you time it with the weather and it's like properly done where you can see them.
Yeah, and I'm thinking like, fuck, man, what's a full goat with the full rug and all the meat? I mean, everything minus the bones. What are you talking? Like 140-pound pack? I didn't
weigh my pack when I did it. Like when I got back, I was just like, yeah, okay.
Was it Was it the Barney's pack?
No, it was a Kuyu pack, but I actually did pack a whole one out. Speaking of John Dykes, John, I don't mean to throw you under the bus, pal, but you getting tossed. Killed a goat with him. Put it in reverse
and hit him again.
Yeah, with a muzzle loader, and he filmed, and like he took a lot of the film equipment down, but where we were at, he was like, no, I'm not. He may have packed a back strap or something like that, but like I packed a whole goat. Right as we graduated, I drew a goat tag like down in Moose Pass. Drew that one, like, oh, you can see the goats from the road. Oh yeah, sweet. And then you go up and like, oh my Lord. Actually,
Mill Creek.
Yep, Mill Creek.
What you got there?
On that hunt, I crushed my pinky on the way up. lacerated my
nice
pinky
little-
completely, and just
That thing's a good 1/4 of an inch shorter.
Yeah.
yeah, that little
maybe
guy
even
got
half.
tuned up. And we were on our way up in a downpour. And I'm like, oh, climbing up, and I'm like, oh man,
Would you fall on it or something?
no, I was just grabbing
Just
shale,
smashed it?
and then like I grabbed a chunk of shale, and it just like I'm like, oh, okay, is this okay? And then it dropped
Oh,
and
yeah.
pinched between another rock,
Oh,
and freaking
fuck,
just
dude.
like and it was a downpour, so it was
Just
all
shredded.
yeah, like pruny fingers,
Yeah.
and just
Oh,
freaking
just-
broke my finger, curled up my tendon, just it tuned me up, and then we didn't really know the first aid that great. Obviously, I'm like, oh yeah, let's stop the bleeding, but like, almost lost my pinky, So we got up, and so we got up.
Gotta
He's
get
like,
a picture
I'm like,
of that tonight.
I said, he's like, I said, I'm like, I laid down, like, I had an issue, what happened? I'm like, oh, I pinched my finger pretty good, I'm bleeding. And he comes up to me, and I'm like, oh man, we've been hiking, dehydrated, trying to get up there, and I just kind of go on my back, and he's like, how bad is it? I was like, this one might be a hunt ender. And he says, nope. I duct tape that thing. You're going to eat a protein bar and drink some water, and we're going to go kill a goat. And I'm like, okay. And like, he gave me like a tough love, which I haven't got many tough loves like that from anyone ever.
Wow.
I'm like, yep, let's do it. So he taped that thing up. I didn't look at it, taped it down, and I just had a ball, and we went up there and killed that goat. And we killed the goat. The goat fell like right before dark. And like, all right, we'll get him tomorrow. So we went down. We hiked down in there to go get him. The next day, we broke our little camp with just like bivy sacks and a 10 by 12 tarp that we set up. No
Yeah.
tent.
Bare mins.
Yep. And we went over, got that thing, and we started slicing and dicing. He's like, I'm like, all right, so you gonna take cape, you're gonna take some meat? He's like, nope, I'll take the film equipment. Done. I'm like, dude, I really like he's like, no way. I'm like, okay. Well, I'm not going to jail for wanton waste. Like, I'm not getting like, it's heavy. It's like that decision.
You shot it?
Yeah, I shot it. It's
Oh,
mine.
okay.
He's not a resident of Alaska, so I shot
okay,
it.
that makes sense.
And I packed that whole thing down, bumbling, stumbling, rolling with that Barney's pack. If I didn't have that Barney's pack, it was like that bar going across. Like, I rolled down some boulders, just turtle
protected
shell.
your
Yeah,
head.
just turtle shell. Just rolled over them. Just did like the freaking cowabunga scoot down the mountain.
Yeah, just sliding,
So
pants shredded.
yeah. When we got done, we were just wet puppies, and we never really talked about it after that. It wasn't like, dude, you left me high and dry. But literally, if you would have taken any weight, it could have killed him. Could have killed you on those steeps. So I get it. That solo goat hunt that I did for Solo Hunter, that is like the hardest pack out I've ever done. Not in length, but in like the technicality of it and the climb and the effort. And then if you stop now, you're on a slope. If you stop now, if you sit down, you may not be able to stand up. But if you lose your feet, you will be meat soup at the bottom of the mountain. And so when I hiked up and over and then down and then back, there's this wall where you have to hike back up and then side hill across and then go down through the sketch. And then you're like, okay, I can sit down and slide through and, sit on Devil's Club and get your taint full of all sorts of pleasure.
Is that another hockey thing?
Rugby.
Rugby more like it. Where was that?
That was down in Prince William Sound.
Okay.
And so I came back home, and after that, like, I had slid down when I got to that stage. I had slid down, but I was sitting on Devil's Club, and like my wife pre-kids, I'm like, I really need your help. And it was like literally like
Pluck.
pants down, tweezer to get out the Devil's
man.
Club
Yeah.
in the most intimate of places. So,
Yeah. Is that when
You
you're
don't just
like,
duct tape
you're a
it and-
keeper, honey?
oh, there was no like that was like you need an X-Acto knife, like
With like the light with the glasses, like
dental glass. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
So, yeah, our pre-marriage, we got a lot closer after that. But like getting out of that hole and doing it, like getting up and out of that hole, I realized I kept like I'd get 30 yards, sit down, 30 yards, sit down, 30 yards, sit down. And then I started having a really hard time standing back up, and I was trying to film it. So getting the camera and coming back to it, I'm like, I can't come back for this camera. Nope. Okay. So
Oh, like setting it up, gonna have to go back and get the camera.
Yes. And I'm like, nope, not doing that anymore. Whereas then standing up, so if you sit up even 135 pounds, try to put a barbell and 245s on your back from the ground with your butt to the ground and stand up. Yeah. Even if you're somebody's behind you and pushing you up. See how much you got. Where I didn't realize that, I'm like, oh man. So eventually, I just like would do the lean over with the
poles,
with the trekking poles. I'm like, okay, I got a little bit more, and I finally got to a spot where I started to side hill, and I got to a place where I could camp, and I camped. I'm like, I'm done. And that whole hunt, I had a silent giant. You guys know silent giants? Guys who've never been on social media, have more kills on their wall when they came up when the getting was good in the 70s, and are just the bad boys. You know the silent giants.
Silent giants.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, silent giants. Like Larry McMurphy was one, just this little sawed-off dude from, I believe, Minnesota or Wisconsin. I should know this. But he's a taxidermist out in Wasilla. The dude's got 23 sheep on his wall. 26, whatever. Over 20 sheep. And he's got it all. And he's like, I don't know, maybe 5'6", like $140. Now he just goes out
to brick shit house.
Now he just goes out and slays bows or whatever. He went there and he did it. He tested himself in all the places he wanted to. But he talked to me. I was fleshing some bears for him for some of that off-season money. And because I'm killing with that digital game, getting some of that taxidermy bill cut down. But he just said, like, you can't do a solo goat hunt. You take a turn with your partners every other year. Same with sheep is different, but goat is more than sheep. You can't do a solo goat. I'm like, well, okay, Larry. Because he'd seen that I had a bunch of success with goats. I'm like, And then it just so happened that year I was trying to go, and then it's like, you know what? Screw it. I don't want to show anybody else the spot.
Yeah.
I'm going. Let me see. See if I got the fuzz on the peaches. So I went there, did that. I know I got the fuzz on the peaches, but I won't do. Club? Yeah, I won't do. Oh yeah, they're gritty. I ain't doing that again.
No way. You ever on that hunt? You ever consider or have you adopted like the I call it piggybacking or shuttling?
Oh yeah, it depends on the hunt, but yeah.
Oh okay. You're not just like I'm gonna load this fucker out in one run.
No,
it's like no, I'm gonna take my gear and I'm gonna take the animal or the animal in the gear or whatever.
Yeah, where that was at.
Okay, that wasn't.
It was just like kind of like all right.
You weren't like going back up for your camp, but like
nope,
no.
It was technical enough to get up. It was technical enough to get down. I'm like, that's like double the risk. Let me just do it once, which it is what it is. And like also, I think I was trying to go on another hunt, so I was like, I can get this done, and I'm going to still have 3 days of time with the wife. And then I get to go do another buddy hunt or something like that, where it's all just time, right? Like everything in Alaska is just time. Like, it's just time.
Yeah, you only have so much of that currency, man.
Yeah. So how did the relationship with Tim and the solo hunter get started? And second part of the question, how does that work when you're like going to give him this film and he's putting it on his platform? What's like the contract, or how does that even work?
Yeah, I just Tim's a bro. He'd been following me on IG, or maybe it was my blog, and we were seeing each other at trade shows. So I went to like the SHOT Show and ATA, and I was going there and mucking it up with everybody, and was filming hunts, and I met him, and kind of years passed where we just like stayed in touch, and I did a solo moose hunt. And I put it out back when I had that like free time flow where I was like just in the zone. I'm like, oh, okay. Had the right music and just like went for it. The 2-day type of film. And he's like, hey, you mind if I post that on Solo Hunter? I'm like, absolutely not. Here's the raw version. Like, do whatever you want. Here's a long version. And then it just kind of it went from there. And I just, I look up to him. He's been like a mentor to me, right? So in the industry, he's given me all the information that I didn't know, that I hadn't learned already. We stay up to date all the time with each other and what he's doing. Now he's doing Hunting House, where he's got his own archery shop down there in the Reno, Nevada area.
Nice.
And the whole like TV, digital space has kind of changed. Netflix space, like all this, it's all changed with all the media that's been out there. So, you see me guiding, So like it's all up in the air. So everyone who thought like the traditional avenue to success with outdoor TV. I got to get a TV show. I got to write.
It seems like all that's changed. It's done.
It's
I don't know about done, but it's just transforming into something else.
It's morphing. It's it's not the traditional top 10, 15 shows making 5-10% of all the money. Right. And like all these different brands that are popping up and e-commerce and like, so it's all just kind of shifted and kind of with Tim and like just the contract, just like, hey, I did a solo film. Like if you wanted, this might like inspire some people to get up off the couch and like go do something.
Yeah.
Or if they try to go do a solo goat hunt, it might kill them.
Yeah.
Where I think about that.
Be ready for that.
Yeah. I've thought about that where I'm like, hey, but it's not like I'm going to sit there and be like, hey, you've got to be a pro level hunter to come and do this. No.
Or you just do the full disclaimer, like ridiculousness. Or like, well,
yeah. Do not have children if you try to do this hunt. So
you may die if you do this.
I have felt, without telling the story, where like I didn't want to show everything, and I'm like, I see myself talking too much, like whatever. Like some of these films, like, oh, cut that. Don't talk about safety and this, that, the other. I kind of like, if they were coming through this rapid on this pack raft and they didn't know what the hell they were doing, they'd get sucked under and rolled. So there's a lot of that stuff where like I don't think about it. It's like, oh, that was cool. He's an inspiration. And then all of a sudden, like I might put someone in a really bad place.
Yeah. Thanks, Austin.
Yeah. Just paddle hard, man. Paddle hard. I did almost to my brother on a pack raft. I'm like, dude, just like get in. It's fine. And he was just like, oh, look at this. This is great. And then, it met a confluence, like, one creek hit a river, and at that rip he was just like looking around for sheep, and then all of a sudden it sucked his tube. And so if you're not into rafting and you're just like, oh yeah, I've got this new tool, like you better know.
Man.
So I don't know, that's the whole solo hunter thing. Tim Burnett is a legend. Remy Warren is
he's a legend too.
Yeah, he's a man-dime legend. He can do no wrong.
Man-dime.
Oh,
I like that.
He's at 10.
Oh, he is a 10.
Jeez Louise. Like, he is a 10. And the way he explains everything is great. Tim posts a video, he'll get some hate. He posts a video of me, I get mega hatred. The kill shot was terrible. That was editing. I'm like, well, maybe, I don't know. Remy does it all in HD, everything slow-mo, kill shot. You're like, I hate you, but I love you. Like, and he is such a good dude, like he does everything that's great. And Tim's like, he's a magician as well. So like that whole crew, well, I guess I'm part of that kind of whole crew, but Tim, OG, then Remy, because Tim is the owner and what he's doing. And then, Remy just kind of does all these different projects. He's like he's
got his fingers in everything. He's just he's just kind of like the floater.
The collab artist. Oh, Meat Eater featuring Remy, like Soul Hunter. Remy, like he's doing all sorts of stuff. Guiding. You're like, damn, dude, you got a kid, you got a wife. Now he's got a wife and he's got a kid. So I'm like, hey, Remy,
how that works, bud.
Give me a podcast on how to deal with that and spend all that time afield,
Dude.
Let's get into your relationship with Winchester.
Oh, okay.
When did that start up? And they obviously approached you. And what's the deal you got with those guys?
So with Winchester in Mission, Alaska, I started out. This was the time that I'm like, oh, Mission. I learned how to film and edit. So the CEO of Orion Multimedia. When Orion Multimedia was making like 35 of the outdoor TV shows, that's when I was in the office.
Oh, Orion, yeah.
Orion Multimedia. They were making a whole bunch of the Versus Channel TV shows and went to NBC Sports. It was like bouncing all around the place. There's big money in it. Well, he saw me, and like when I got done with college, I drove out and refused no as an answer to my mixtape of my moose hunt. And hey, what you guys think about this for a TV show? And they're like, sorry, no. I'm like, I got your number now.
Yeah.
A Star 69 shoot. So I drove my college rig out there, and they're like, hey, we said no. I'm like, oh, well, you're going to have to tell me no to my face. They're like, we're going to call the cops. I'm like, okay, I'm driving from Pennsylvania to Colorado. I finally get out there, and like right before I got there, like 4 hours before I got there, they're like, where are you? And I was like, I'll be there in about 4 hours.
Just about on your doorstep.
And they're like, all right, don't come inside. We're going to give you a film kit. And what's your ad? You know, like, what's your name? What blah, blah, blah. We've got a ticket for you to go film a TV show. You got the juice. I'm like, I got the juice. So I can film. Can you film?
I got the juice.
Yeah, can you film like a JVC 700? I'm like,
Sure.
kidding me? You know, never seen one. It's one of those like,
what is that again?
Like shoulder, like ESPN thing. I'm like, oh my God. Okay.
Just press the red button, right?
I got my in, right? So I started filming, and they're like, oh man, he's got these notes. We haven't even seen these notes from a videographer. And I'm like, this is the scene I think, you know, I was doing stuff that they're like, yeah, okay. So they kept me on. And like the CEO, John De Palma, was like, this kid knows something. So John De Palma was one of my other mentors, and still is, like, and we still stay in contact, where he's, so tell me about this digital stuff. And now he's like all Mr. Digital, right? So we did all sorts of gigs together, right? Where he left Orion, sold his Porsche, whatever he did. And we started doing all these independent projects with photography, videography, and selling these digital packages. And he's like, okay. And now that's what he does.
When you say digital packages, like digital packages to go film something, or digital packages it's already created?
Like projects, like, oh, let's go do a short film, or let's go do a branding video, a product video. Let's go to a trade show and film all the new product launches, the SHOT Show. And so I did that once I was like, yeah, I'm not doing TV shows anymore with these people. John's like, let's go do this. Like, sign me up, bud.
Yeah.
And there was this like mutual learning, but also I like ushered him into the digital era. And so we were selling these like digital packages. Oh, let's go. And he knew the pipeline for all these different brands. He still is the Don Gata of like, he knows everyone.
Yeah.
And he's the Woodford Reserve drinking like bad boy, where he does it and he knows everyone. So he's just got this pipeline, and we did all these projects together. And one was Winchester Ammunition. I did it like for 3 years with Winchester. Once I stepped away from that and got out of college, did the TV shows, and then started getting into this digital realm, where in between all of my filming gigs and digital marketing gigs for new product videos, they'd fly us out and do like Deer Season XP, like all their Deer Season XP, this new ammunition launch, or Blindside, or Longbeard XR, you know, where you'd go out, you get all these graphics, and then like I had the knack for, I'm not married to this, I've got no kids, nothing. I'm going to slap together like 20 to 50 product videos at a trade show. Boom, 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 boom. Film with all their pro staff. I'd have all of my cutaways from everything that we did, and I would just like, just
Swing
freaking,
out.
oh boy.
Just going full flow.
Oh boy. I was putting the hammer down, like for real. And it was good. They're like, okay. And they were publishing it out, doing all their content, and they were kind of like this, you know, like introducing a new wave to the digital, and they were ahead of it. And they still are. And then in the meantime, I would go back, because that was like in the wintertime, in the whitetail season. And then I was going back and like hunting like a freak and putting more critters down in Alaska, because I was hungry and got back. I hadn't hunted for years, and I want to sheep hunt. I want to do this. I want to do
It's like
that.
a fresh start.
Oh my Lord. And I just got done with Penn State rugby. I'm just like, oh boy.
Best shape of your life. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So, and then I was filming it and then editing my own stuff. I was just like in the zone. And then and then I would come back to Winchester, do my job. And like, man, we've been following you on IG. Like, are those all your animals? Like, oh yeah, me and friends and family. You're not a guide? No.
Just getting
And
out.
then I'm like, hey, like, would you mind if you guys like sponsored one? Like, can I throw your billboard in front of like my moose video, like the one that's with Kaylin? They're like, yeah, go for it. I put it up there, and then all of a sudden, the director of marketing was like, hey, what do you want to do with that? And I'm like, you tell me.
What are you offering?
You got any ideas? Or, I mean, let you know.
So, and then I became one of the pro staff guys. Well, not, I guess, an expert or whatever. I'm like, does that mean anything? No, I'm like a dad of two, and like a family man at home and I go out and go and hunt, but certain hunts, I could care less if I shot anything and it's about someone else. And so that's, I put that in my notes. I want to talk about all of this. You guys are experts at like talking and pulling those questions out. You guys are really good at that. Because there was
experts might be a little overkill.
Yeah. No,
but I
no
really
one's expert
appreciate
here.
that.
How many of you guys
I
done
know
now?
the studio looks cool and all, but
this is 43.
How many hours have you done into it?
How many what?
Hours.
Have we
total
done?
Spent
oh,
over
Jesus
10,000?
Christ.
Me, probably.
Expert. Once you're over
Is that what
10,000.
it is?
Yeah,
is that what it is?
Yeah.
I actually never added it
I mean,
up.
that's not like with the editing part. That's the
Just in
endless.
general, I mean, anyone that's tried to bring a team together and,
Yep.
and do any kind of whatever it is, whether it's a song or whether it's a film or, you know, a podcast, there's a lot of behind the scenes work.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'd probably say there's at least, I don't know, man, like 500.
Next trivia, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next trivia.
I mean, I'm thinking just pure recording time over 100 hours on like the podcast itself.
Oh, yeah.
hey, Siri, how many hours? She knows.
So what's up with Alaska Cast?
Oh, boy. Well, for Alaska Cast, kind of
Cast.
the last thing with the Winchesters, I just got in there with them, and I do projects with them, and tomorrow I should have a meeting for Winchester Wednesday. And
Winchester Wednesday.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
Nice.
I'm probably wondering, like, why I haven't done much with Mission Alaska lately, because I'm working on different projects, like the Alaska Wild Project.
Yes, the best project.
Yeah.
So,
Like I was just on this really huge, awesome podcast.
You guys should check it out.
You guys need to check these guys out.
but what kind of hurt, like, doesn't necessarily hurt me, but the killing for content, before I dive into the Alaska Cast, is like killing for content is like I didn't realize what I was doing, but when I was like hunting and like killing it, I wanted to go out and I was just hungry and filling freezers, and I filled the freezer. I'm like, hey, you know, giving meat away and everything, and it wasn't necessarily killing for content. It was like killing for hunger and just I want to be in the wild.
Fuck yeah.
I want danger. I want to get out there.
Adventure.
And
Storied life.
I love it.
Yeah.
And man, like you kill enough animals and you're like, okay, well, you film enough, solo film, you know what to do. You set it, okay, yep, I'm walking to grab this. It's just formula, okay. And I just went on this, that big Yukon hunt. We killed 5 bulls, 3.5 days, huge extravaganza. And I got home, and I still had a few days. And so I still had a few days of like my leave time with the wife.
Was that this one right here?
Yeah.
Yep.
That was that one.
Yukon. Looks like a Yukon hunt to me.
That was a Yukon, pal.
Yep.
And we drew tags and we went down to the old venture. It was great.
Looks amazing.
3.5 days of travel, 4 days of hunting.
Downstream to the right.
To the left.
To the left. Okay. Yeah. Upper
Wait.
Huffman Trail.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Up and then left.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
South of Nome.
South of Nome.
But north of the Kenai Peninsula.
Right there.
Oh, I know.
I meant from the bridge. But I meant from the bridge. Downstream to the right.
Yeah.
Where everyone else goes.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Downstream to the right. Yeah.
So I got back from that
Bull
hunt.
Valley.
And it was just like, you know, pack fest. And then it's like, oh, there's a goat tag. You know, I've killed five or six goats in the last 5 or 6 years personally. And 1 year I helped family and friends killed 6. Where I'm like, okay, I'm just like going out. I love this.
Yeah.
No, yeah, whatever. No reason or rhyme. I just want to go out and go do it.
Yeah.
And then I waited in line in Palmer Fish and Game when the Kinnick tag came up. I'm like, oh, I'm going to get up. Okay.
Like-
Did you try to go wait in line for that? He's like, I'm going to get
That
up
was
early.
that was a
I'm going to be the
joke,
first
dude.
one there.
Yeah.
And there's like 30 people in line.
Yep.
Well, I didn't think I was going to be the first one there. I just thought I would get there early enough to get a tag.
Dudes are camping, dude, right at the door.
Yeah. And then
Got there at like 3:30 or 4 or something like that.
I got there at 3:45. I was too late.
Yep.
And I was like, I got in line. I'm like, fuck, man. I'm like 3 guys too late. I'm like, I'll just stay here. One of these guys will peel off and I'll slip in. And then I looked ahead of the line. I'm like, oh, he's in his fucking camo gear. Like, he's going to get in a cub
right now.
Right after this and like go hunting. Yep. I'm like, oh, well, I wasn't going to go for like another week.
Yeah. And then like,
I mean, I was just trying to secure a tag, and then I realized I was like, I'm not going to be able to even like compete. I think it closed like 3 days later.
Yeah.
I'm like,
so
dude,
the doors opened, and then like 3 dudes scooted right in front. I'm like,
right across from the fairgrounds.
But I couldn't like, if I leave my spot, like, oh, it's just like pipe down. Like, I've got no idea, but yeah, across from the fairgrounds. Then I got one of the last tags for like the less coveted spot. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, sweet, I got one. And then we all like, me and Cole Heggie. Oh, there's another bad boy pilot. I've only met him actually there one time. And then Cedric.
Is standing in that line drinking coffee?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then we all, okay. And they're like, oh, we're going to go. And then they ended up not going because it's going to close in 3 days. And the weather was kind of gnarly. And then I'm like, oh, sweet. Oh, there's a weather window. So I flew out with Brian Turner, my cheat code pilot. He was like, hey, what do you got going on? I was like, I'm really busy with work. You got about an hour and a half? Can you drop me? He's like, get at the plane now. I'm like, so I go, I'm like, bye.
Just had your pack on already?
Leave my wife and the kids. And I'm like, oh, I'll see you guys. Like, okay, you know, it's his hunting season. He's going to go do it. Like, I'll get one. Like, flew out, landed. Sweet. Well, yeah. Yep. There they are. Okay, cool. And then a guide popped out. I'm like, go. Where'd you just come from? He's like, oh, yeah, he probably didn't see me. I was just setting up a tent. I'm like, oh, where are you going? He's like, I'm going there. I'm like, okay, I'll go over here. Plenty of goats. Okay. We'll sleep. We wake up. Next morning, I go up. There's the goat. I got it on film. I'm doing the solo film. Oh, I'm so badass. I'm doing it. Like, oh, yeah. Here we go. Solo. Okay. Put it in the camera, and I'm like, all right, so there's the Nanny. It's like 300 yards away. The Billy's like, I don't want to spook the Nanny. I'm just going to wait here. I'll go get a Billy or I'll shoot her. She's by herself. And there's no like, if you shoot this Nanny, you're penalized for 5 years in the spot. Oh, so I'm like, okay. So I lay down. I'm like, all right, this is cool. And I just sat there looking at this goat. I'm filming it. And I'm laying there with this high powered rifle, 300 Win Mag with a Vortex Bad Boy 3-15 and a 50 Bell on it. And I'm like, this is so dead. And I'm filming. I'm like, okay, should I shoot this Nanny? And I thought to myself, I'm like, hold on. You have like a moose and a half
in the freezer still.
My freezer is packed. You didn't even kill a sheep, but like my freezer is packed. And I just came out here because I was lusting to get out for more. And then I might be posting. Am I actually doing this for the gram? Am I doing this for Winchester? Why am I doing this? I had this like moment of clarity where I'm like,
wait a second. I don't know if I need this.
What the hell am I doing here? Like, I literally was like, I stood up and I looked at that goat. Like, this is your lucky day. Goodbye. And I grabbed my stuff and, like, texted the pile. I'm like, hey, come and grab me. You know, and it could have closed that day or could have closed the next day, but still in the grace period. But
you would have closed it if you'd have shot it.
For sure. And I'm like, what are my priorities? I was like, I want to go home and spend time with my family. Like,
that's right.
Out here killing a goat for. Let me sell the hide, keep the meat, give the meat away, and European mount the skull. Like, kind of like.
Got plenty of those.
What is that?
Yeah.
So.
Your tank was full.
Oh, man. I went out there and I did it.
Good word.
I tapped coup on him. Like, okay. This is your lucky day, goats.
Yeah.
But you guys are going to, you know, they live such a hardcore lifestyle. I just had this ultimate respect. And it wasn't easy to get up, even though I flew there. It was tough. One of the tougher goat hunts to get up and to where they were at.
Sure.
I did all the
probably great to go through the motions anyway and just do the thing.
I felt great, and I laid down, and I'm like, man, I wish I would have brought a bow, but then it would have been for Winchester. I wish I would have brought a 30-30, you know, like an open
lever action, like make it real challenging.
Open something different.
Yeah, that's what I want to do with the Caribou.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And I was just like, I've just done it so many times where it's just like this piece. This wasn't what I needed, and what I need is to go home and spend time with my family.
Yeah.
So that was like this whole change of even guiding and getting to spend the time with my family out. It's been like a mental and physical change on everything that I've been doing, which I haven't been posting as much because it's not about that. It's, you know, what are you doing it for?
Well, I think that is
I love that, dude.
A shift that I hope is happening, you know, to more people. Because there's been times where you've probably gone or you've gone and you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna go home because my kids are there and all that stuff, and that's beautiful. I think.
I still got respect for the young dudes who are getting out there and grinding it. You know,
for sure.
like going out, go get them, boys. But if the old bulls go up there, I'm like, let me show you how to do this, and you know, it's the same thing. It keeps going. So when you get that maturity, you've been inspired. You go and you do it. You figure out the formula, and you keep doing it. At what point do you give back? At what point do you go to the board meetings, the board of game meetings, board of fish meetings?
Share your knowledge and your experience.
And at what point do you sit on an advisory committee and like donate your time, which is the most valuable thing? Yeah. It's just like a process. And amongst all that solo goat hunt, taking 10 years off of lives, I'm like, all right, here we go, boys. How is that physical?
Yeah.
How's that physical game
you
in the aging hunter?
You start to put that scenario together, like what you're going to go through to get that damn thing out of there. You're like, you know, my bed seems real nice tonight, and I don't know if I really need that bad.
Yeah.
Can we expect more?
Be doing stuff your whole life. You know, you got to take care of yourself. You want to be able to be taking your grandkids out on those hunts. Yep. And if you're pushing yourself to that level, man, that's fucking great. But it's not great for, 40 years from now.
There's a limited window there.
Yeah.
I think.
How are you guys dealing with like the physical, if I can ask a question? How are you guys dealing with the aging? Like we're all aging, right? Like obviously, and these hunts aren't just like, oh yeah, I'm going out, this is great. Yeah. Like those hidden injuries.
Oh, I got injuries.
Where was that?
Oh man, yeah you do.
They sneak up.
Yeah, they sneak up and it affects your mind and actually, to me personally, it makes me decide what I want to accomplish now and what I want to see in the future. As far as, I only have a certain amount of these mountain hunts. Personally, I feel for me, I've had 4 knee surgeries. It's tough to get out and get after it. When we got those 2 rams and I had to take that ram out by myself, I mean, that was probably the same moment after you did your goat hunt where I was like, you know what, I'm not going to do that again. If I go and get a sheep, I need help. I'm going to, and it just is in the back of your mind. And then you start thinking about your kids and you want to eventually show them, mountain hunting and stuff like that. And if you get it all out now, you don't save any for later. I feel like, what do you feel about that?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, excuse me. Yeah, it's kind of funny because I've done a lot of my mountain hunts with Daniel, and Daniel's knee situation to some degree kind of dictates like how far we're going to go. Jack, you went out on a mountain hunt with Daniel.
Yeah.
I could always go longer or farther, or I could always push more than when he decides to say, hey,
I'm good.
Yeah, and he tells me, hey, this knee's starting to, I got a couple hours, and it's just like, okay, push. I feel like for me, it's helped me to figure out what my limit is, and it's elongated my ability because I know I can go like harder, longer. Because since I've gone on a few mountain hunts with Daniel, I've done some solo hunts, and I've put myself in some really shitty situations, and I'm like, wow. It's a beauty going with him because there's a limit, and it makes for a longevity of more comfort and a more sustainable health in how I feel through a hunt because I could just run myself into the ground and just have nothing left the next day, or I could stop with him at 5 o'clock and have something left in the tank for tomorrow morning or the next day and the next day after. And
what about this outside observation? This Jack over here, he's got that mountain length. He's got the mountain Abraham Lincoln, where he can outstep you. One step is 2 years. Looks like he's pretty healthy, real good, like you kind of like seems like some of like the guys who are the thicker, like not saying Jack isn't thick, but like the thicker, shorter, you can, you and me both,
compact,
right? Yeah. I'm built like a thumb, baby. But I see some of these guys that are freaking just spiders out there where they can go and go and go.
Those guys
and I'm
are
like, are you hurt? Have you ever been injured? Are you okay? I need to tie my shoe, and I think I see something with my spotter. Just wait up. You know, these guys down.
I grew up with that guy, right? Like that's my dad, John Lau. He's a mountain goat. No one's ever been able to keep up with him. I mean, we got a sheep in his 60s together. Still skis 40 days a year. You know, just like me, 200 pounds, 6'1". I think it's about, in his spare time, he doesn't sit around. He's out doing stuff. If it's like working on his boat or whatever, but he's in the mountains daily. So like if you ask him what he did today, he either went cross country skiing, he went fat tire biking, he went on a hike, and that's every day year round his whole life. And I think those people that don't push it too hard but stay in that level of fitness and then are also aware of their bodies. Like he's very much aware, like if he had something happen with his knee or something with his back, like that next day he's not pushing, you know. And if you're able to do that and be consistent your whole life, I think that you can live a healthier outdoor life. Now, some of his best buddies that he did stuff with were, you know, skiing harder terrain more days a year, and maybe had other things like you had rugby and you know, playing football in college and stuff. Some of our good family friends, and they have these other injuries, and he fortunately didn't have that. But I think if your level of fitness is maintained on a daily basis, you're eating super healthy. You got these guys like my dad that eat salmon 3 days a week. They're eating a lot of greens. They're eating all the wild game we kill. They're not going to fast food restaurants. They're not going out to eat. They're not over drinking. You're able to maintain this healthy lifestyle that with lower inflammation, and just going out and being active, and you know, with your kids. Like these guys here, Brandon and Daniel, go out with their kids every day. You know, making sure even as a dad that you maintain that lifestyle, you're just more aware of what you should be doing on a regular basis. I think you can, like, and there's luck, like you didn't, you know, tear the ACL too many times, or, you know,
too many,
you know, skiing or whatever, you know, but playing soccer, another one of the injuries, right? I think you just become like a little bit more in touch with your body. Plus your body is performing at this like maintenance level all the time in a way that's like
well said,
healthy, like with the inflammation that you can go longer. You can still be 65 and get 40 ski days a year. You know, they're not hitting every powder day on North Face, and they're not, you know, going on goat hunts probably, unless I'm packing it out for them. But which I would bring a buddy, because I'm not going to do the solo one.
You really got to love the person who's hunting.
But I think that like makes a huge difference, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, before we talked, you mentioned Vince Pokrifke.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So Vince is my father-in-law.
Yeah. He's a beast.
Oh my God. Wow.
So Vince and I worked together on the North Slope for like 15 years.
Right. And so Vince, so I married his daughter, my high school sweetheart, Jordan Pokrifke, now Jordan Manelick. And I came around back when I was like just a friend. And that's like his line. But he got me into traditional archery and introduced me to a lot of good people. Dan Ryan, for example, helped me build my first longbow with Vince. Dan Ryan actually just passed away a couple days ago. And
oh, wow.
That's tough, you know, and he was in his late 70s, and he just laid down in his room, and it was his time to go to meet his wife.
That was it. Yeah.
But R.I.P. I actually did a big hike, so I used to do like 5-6 days a week, like to stay. If you want to be in hunting shape, CrossFit ain't going to do it. Weightlifting ain't going to do it. Well, it helps. That helps.
Oh, yeah.
It helps, but the number one thing is hiking the mountains,
doing it,
weight on your back.
Yeah.
Hard thing
rucking.
Is, the hard thing is I want to get up here and go do that. It takes so much time. So, but like an hour here, hour there with a 30 to 50 pound pack, build up and just keep doing that. Keep doing that.
Mountain shape.
That's how you do it. Vince, we just went this year. We scored a sheep together where it took us 4 days to get to where we were trying to go. And I'm like, yep, there's a sheep. And he's like, I'm just going to go ahead and sit right here and wait for a sheep to walk up with my bow. You guys go for it. We hiked down, took us full day, down, up, and over, killed a ram. Next day, down, up and over, down, back up. And we finally got back to Vince. I'm like, hell yeah, he's fired up. And we're like, I said, I'll hike this whole thing out and we'll keep going. You know what? Even though there might be some more sheep around, I'm ready to go because this is tough. But he was there, 67 years old, kept up and did it, man.
Yeah.
And you're like,
went through the process.
Damn, I wish, I don't wish. I know if I make it that long, like, I am going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And then hopefully my kid will pick me up,
Yeah.
So I see Vince and I see like this like aging hunter and like Vince, I can't keep up on a snow machine. Like that dude is a mountain wizard on a long trap. Dude, the bucket list now that he's not working on the slope and he just goes out, doesn't
just plays.
No time. Oh, dude, Marcus Baker. Marcus Baker, bud. He rips and he's he snow checks his sleds and he goes out there and like I go out with him. We're out the parking lot and I'm like, I'm not used to this. Like in the snow, and he's ripping on these snow machines and getting them out. And he's been doing that, and that's what's kept him going. Mm-hmm. Granted, he just gotta
have that passion.
He got his slap tear, his shoulder worked on, so he's kind of there,
A little tight.
And actually, I stopped working out after I guided Tim with Eric Lee for his grizzly bear. We did a grizzly bear hunt, and he killed the grizzly bear. And I stopped doing my workouts like in May. I'm like, I'll just keep hiking, but I wasn't doing the upper body to keep the old injuries at bay. And middle of the summer, July 21st, had the slip and slide out for all little kids. My 3-year-old's birthday.
Oh, no.
And the dad's got to go, pal.
Oh, yeah.
And I did a slip and slide. And I came to, a couple 3 King Street IPAs deep.
Yeah.
Everyone's having a great time. The
Dad
parents like,
slapped the slide.
Yeah.
And
And I'm like, I got a freaking slap tear. So now my shoulder's been garbage. So I'm like, okay.
No.
But I went through the whole guide season, but now it's like more of a, all right, I'm not going to be pushing heavy weights. I need to hike all the time with a weighted pack.
Yep.
Because hunting season, I feel great. And then doing less weight, but higher reps. And like, I could care less what this looks like. And when people say, man, what the hell happened to you? I'm like, dude, step on the mountain with me one day, player.
Yeah.
See what you think then.
I got this dad bod I'm rocking.
Boy, I got this belt of wealth right here. The winter wealth.
That's right.
I got
if you ever run
calories to
out of
burn.
food, man, you can be fine.
Just fine.
So the big thing is lifting your kids up over the, if you're injured and you can't do that stuff.
Oh man.
Yep.
And then if you don't got enough juice in the tank, or if your tank isn't full yet, like you got enough. And then hopefully I get that for my kids, and then like my daughter, and then hopefully I'm like, oh wow, she's the metaverse champion or whatever, and like she's doing VR.
She's a metaverse hunter.
Yeah, she's doing VR hunts and going and killing sheep, and people get to relive that or something. Where you're like, whoa, where's this all going? But at least I'll give my kids a chance to get out there and get them doing something, get them out in the wild, and then have the body to do so. Because I know we're all like, we ain't old.
No,
but
we ain't getting younger.
It's definitely on the other end for sure. Like as far as, man, I'm noticing it right now with how cold it's been. Man, like I'll get up out of my office because I have an office job now, and I get up out of my office chair and I'm just like, oh,
you gotta get one of those standing desks, dude.
I'll have one. I mean, I can raise it up. I mean, I move around at work a lot. I might sit for like 15, 20 minutes at a clip, and I find a reason to get up and go, bark at somebody about something. And so I get my steps in, maybe not 18,000 a day like I used to, but not 18,000, maybe 12. But no, I mean, like you said, man, look, Father's time is definitely starting to tap on the door. And again, not old, like not saying I'm old, not saying I'm like, I just know that the better years of youth and, I twisted my ankle, but I'm going to hike through another 7 miles and act like it never happened. Well, it doesn't just like go away like that.
No. Right.
And back, hip. I have a torn rotator cuff, and it's like every once in a while it like flares up, and it's like, man, you gotta, when you're out there in the mountain or in the woods or whatever you're doing, you are very closely monitoring how you feel day by day, what you can do, what that weird discomfort in that area is. You're in tune with it. You kind of like want to ignore it like the good old days when you're young, but you're like very much aware it doesn't just go away.
I feel that's what makes us, like, as I'm like an aging hunter, well, not like age, I'm still like in the prime, I'm supposed to be in the pinnacle, right? But like I know if I do this or that, it's not going to be good. So I feel now where I used to be able to race up the mountain, no problem. Oh boy. Yeah, I can still race up the mountain. However, is that the smartest plan? So I feel like the old bull, young bull, like I'm meshing. I'm peaking.
You're transitioning.
I think you just become more aware.
Yeah.
You know, of your limits, and you start thinking about your kids in the future, and you just become aware of the stop time, or where you're going to take that break, or what your limitations are.
It's a long game approach at your, you know, if you got
longevity approach.
Yeah. Longevity approach. Like the long game. I have 7 days of hunting. These first 2 days, I'm kind of like going to get in shape. Right? I call it the time mountain shape. Like
break-in period.
Just give me 2 days and then I'm good. Those first 2 days, I'm going to be a bag of shit, but don't judge me on that.
Well, that being said, now I have, like opening day of sheep season in competitive area, boil it down to about 25% success rate if you're on a legal ram and there's other people there. About every 4 years, on opening day, it's mayhem. You just got to be there, and then anything can happen, obviously, even if you're on a legal ram. So the old bull, young bull, this like young group came up the route that I wanted to go, but my brother and friend were like, no, we're not doing that. I'm like, okay, I know another route. Let's go up this way. We got up there, got in. We were on the sheep. Somebody pushed them. Okay, they were 400 yards away on the 9th. I'm like, just don't move. We all got pinned down, laying down out in the open. They're going to come back. This is where they want to be. They moved off. Opening morning. Here they come. A different group comes up on opening morning that we didn't even know about. Spooked them back. And then the young buck, 19, 20, 21-year-olds or whatever, they came up the route that I wanted to go. Like we're watching that sheep, and all of a sudden I'm like, okay, they're coming. Okay, here comes one. Here comes. And then that sheep just, and then we hear the shot, and it just rolls down this canyon. I'm like, oh boy. And we see one with a bow and the other with a rifle, and they stand up. And they're like doing the, what the heck, man? What the heck? I'm like, I bet you they're young. I hope their friendship lasts through this and they go on another hunt together. But
he's like, I was drawn, bro.
Yeah, I was 70 yards, man.
He was going to run away.
So I caught up with him after, like social media is a wonderful thing. I'm like,
yeah,
they're still good. I don't know if they've been on any hunt since, but like that's a young, okay, they got the great.
Yeah, that guy filled his tank, and then next guy's turn.
It was cool. I just saw like the young bucks risking life and limb, and then actually we killed a ram on the way out that they had pushed out of the broccoli where no one would have seen that ram,
and they didn't even know it was there.
Nope, until they saw me running frantically, trying to get them, my buddies on board to go and shoot the ram. Selflessly, I could have ran up and shot it, but I'm like, come on, guys! Like it's just trying to fire them up, but they had. The wind had left the sails after a ram got.
Oh, yeah.
And then once they finally saw it, they kind of got a little charged up. We killed that ram, and they said, yeah, we didn't know why you were running until you shot that ram, but we would have killed two.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were only after one.
Yeah. I want to end this on some quick fire questions for you.
Oh, no.
Okay? 1 word, 2-word answers, whatever first comes to mind really quick, all right? Favorite caliber?
300 WSM.
Last hunt ever choice. You have 1 hunt left.
Ooh.
What is it?
Doll sheep.
Camels or solids?
Solids.
Salmon or halibut?
Salmon. Whoa! I eat more halibut.
Okay.
But I like to fish for salmon more.
Favorite podcast?
It
could be non-hunting. It could be whatever.
This is, lame, but like
parenting.
Yeah.
AWP.
No Alaska Wild Project.
Boom. Childhood hero.
Oh man. Oh, this is kind of funny, but
That's a good question, man.
childhood hero. My brother.
Good one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Favorite game meat.
Sheep.
Favorite rapper.
Oh boy. Like old school or new?
It's a rapper's a rapper, bro.
Favorite rapper.
Soiled T, Josh Bruce, what do you got?
Favorite rapper.
Deltron 3030.
I was thinking, Biggie. Biggie
Biggie.
always gets me hyped for before hunts.
Oh, I bet
All
that
right.
gets you fired up.
How many toys you got?
Which kind?
Motorized.
Oh. Ooh. I'll tell you the newest one. It's a favorite one.
Okay.
Snow
It's
machine?
Big heavy Scandic 550 fan cooled.
Yeah.
Nice.
What
With a
toy you
trailer?
want next that you don't have yet?
What I'm really looking for that I've been just like, I've been paralyzed on Facebook Marketplace. I hate your Facebook Marketplace.
I know, it makes you an addict.
Oh my gosh. I can't stop. I can't. It's not even I'm like, I can't, I sit
That
down.
big Commander truck fucking side by side? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah, no, daughter's asleep. Oh, yeah, she's asleep 5 minutes. I'm looking for a 50-30 Tohatsu jet.
Oh, you want to put it on your inflatable jet boat?
Yeah, for the jet techs. Jet techs are like mini boats, but way cooler. Lighter, you can fold them up, you can do whatever, and that was like my.
You can fly them out.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and I killed a sheep out of one this year. I've been keeping it like ultra top secret, but that is a jet tech. Those solar inflatables from Jim Palmer.
Nasty.
Cheat code. Full blown cheat code, like
Up, down, left,
the way
down.
the way they're designed, and the whole, the inflatable hull, and like
it's all ultimate hunting machine,
tunnel
man.
where the jet doesn't touch, so you'll skim and you won't suck up and you won't freaking
You won't bang your boot up.
Oh boy! So my next toy, a Tohatsu 50-30 or a 42 stroke jet, but something that is portable that will push that.
Got it. Okay. Favorite Alaska caribou call.
This one right here, the double shovel.
You got it.
This one's the forget me hopped.
All right. Who's your football team?
Who's my football team?
College, NFL. What's your question?
Yeah. Well, Colony Knights.
Calling.
All state now.
There you go.
Oh, all
Calling
state, bud.
Knights. All right. Hockey team.
I thought it might be Philadelphia Eagles, because you're with those Philly boys over there.
When they're doing good, but those fans are mean, pal.
Oh, yeah.
But
Dude,
yeah.
they threw snowballs at Santa, bro.
They're savage.
Man,
They're savage.
That says it all.
So,
Hockey team.
oh boy, a hockey team would have to be the Red Wings. Even though Scotty, how to put the 1-2 to him, Gomez,
Okay.
Gomer, but that's because my father-in-law Vince Pokrifke,
Yeah,
he came from Detroit, and that's like the team.
Oh, it's a good selection.
So,
Who's the baddest badass you've hunted with?
oh, man, Vince Pokrifke, dude, he's still 67 and just romping, stomping, Panther
Nice,
meat,
man.
dude
Yeah.
with a trad bow, like for sure.
Paddleboard bow moose
hunting?
kill.
Jeez.
Yeah, wait, hold on. Before we lock this thing up. This guy goes on a paddleboard.
So I'm just chilling there on the slope one day, and he comes up to me. He's like, "What'd you use this time off?" And I was like, "I don't know. I went hunting or whatever with my dad or whatever we did." And he's like, "Oh yeah, he kind of like played it low key." He's like,
He's like, "Yeah, I
we
didn't
were
really do
gonna go
anything
look
cool,
We went
but
up
let
near
me
I
tell
think
you."
it was up near his cabin, right? Oh, we went up near my cabin.
Probably
I
the
went on a
Yukon.
paddleboard. And I was just paddleboarding around. Everyone else is doing other stuff, and then this moose just walks out, and I just pull up my trad, and it was over with. I was like, "You shot a moose from your paddleboard at the trad bow?" And he's like, "Yeah."
No. Hold on, wait, back up. Like,
Yeah, secret language, dude. He'll hike in and we'll jet boat around or whatever, and then be like, hey, drop me off this slough, and then he'll jump slough to slough to slough, and go over to the beaver dams and everything, just paddleboard in, and he's got
just
this
dead silent.
sweet, sexy little moose call. Oh, he pulls him right in. He zapped one with he zapped a lot with a bow, but I'm like, yeah, I got a moose.
Yeah.
Okay, where we get back. Okay, well, let's go get it.
He's like, you got to grab your paddleboard to get it. You're like, what?
Well, when you guys mentioned that before we got started tonight, we're recording, you guys dropped that bomb. I'm like, whoa, wait, what? I'm thinking this dude like bungees this like hindquarter on his paddleboard.
This dude has like
1 quarter at a time. Just
this dude would bring me into his office to show me his newest Filsoned. So he's like, you got to just like, he's like Filsoned out, like just kind of like a old timer Alaskan.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
You know,
Everything's wool.
Yeah,
Pendleton
and he
Filsoned.
tells these stories like in like this low key manner. I also know the story about his sheep with you. This first one.
Oh,
He
yeah.
told me about that one. Yeah,
Legend.
yeah,
He puts a leg in Gen or legend, whatever. He's the man, dude.
yeah.
All right, last question. How much was your ADFG account price this year?
Maxed. I max him every year.
Yep. What's the
What
number?
do you mean,
I
max?
think he's like,
How much did you pay?
240 or something.
I think maybe 270.
270.
270?
Did you do elk?
No, you know what? I didn't.
Yeah,
I
I
drew.
don't do elk
I drew
either.
elk. I drew.
Wait,
elk, I never did it.
you spent $270?
Yeah, maxed it out.
Oh,
Whatever I did, maxed it out. Other than elk, because I'm like, I'm not.
Mine was
I won't have the
$390.
time.
Yeah,
So
but
I
you
don't
probably
know.
did muskox and elk, right?
not muskox, but elk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Maybe.
brown bear.
Yo, 6 of them.
Did you do brown bear?
Oh yeah, if I draw it, I'll go just like musk.
All Kodiak?
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah. Whatever.
You
if
going
I-
for that Fraser Lake motherfucker?
No,
Don't you dare.
I've hunted that before.
Really?
Well, we'll talk about that.
Spring or
afterwards.
fall?
Fall.
Did you get one?
A big old buck.
A big old buck deer or a big old
Monster buck deer.
sweet? Well, that was my thought process on those was like, hey guys, I got this bear tag. Let's go to Kodiak. You can't shoot a bear, but you can shoot some deer.
Same.
I'm going to shoot a bear. You guys shoot all the deer you want.
Alaskans, thank you for listening. Go to patreon.com/Alaska
good
Wild
shit.
Project. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Leave us an Apple Podcast review. The promo code for Heather's Choice is Alaska Wild. Go to AlaskaWildProject.com. Leave us a comment. Leave us a message. Check out Mission Alaska on Instagram at mission_Alaska. Thank you, Austin, for coming. We appreciate you. Go by Barney's. We got all of our merch up there now. Go spend some money for Christmas, and thank you for supporting, and thank you for what you're doing for the outdoor culture out here, and thank you for coming by. We appreciate you.
Hey man, thank you guys for
Nice work, Austin.
Thank you for bringing it. This is such a pro level over here. Like I really appreciate sitting here on this like
Damn,
birch
that's saying a
slab
lot,
table, boys sharing stories. Like
Dude, you're
Gotta-
welcome. You're welcome anytime, Austin.
Let's do
Anytime,
it.
anytime.
Our casa's your casa, baby.
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
day.
sir.
Vice
Thank you,
versa. It's
Alaska.
fun times, man.
Stay
Thanks, guys.
wild.
You remember my speaking to you of what I call your overcautiousness. Are you not overcautious when you assume that you cannot do what the enemy is constantly doing?
The Alaska Wild Project podcast is brought to you by the following sponsors.
Tailored Restoration 24-hour emergency home services, helping Alaskans restore their dreams since 1972. Services include fire, water, mold, post-emergency cleaning, repair, and remodeling. Give them a call in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu, or Fairbanks. Hit them up at tailoredrestorationalaska.com.
Looking to buy or sell a home? Look no further than Alaska's #1 real estate team at alaskashometeam.com. Decades of local experience, knowledge, and expertise in a competitive real estate market. Alaska's Home Team makes buying or selling your home a breeze. Give them a call today at 907-277-3777.
Lady with the Plan, your own Alaska event planner. From scouting the perfect location to planning the tiniest details, specializing in event management and production for intimate social gatherings, retreats, birthdays, bridal, and baby showers. Find Lady with the Plan on Instagram.
The Bait Shack, located on Ship Creek upstream of the bridge. Can't miss the bright red shack. They're the go-to fishing gear rental and guide service on Ship Creek. Tight lines and fish on. Come hook into the action with them. Hit them up at thebaitshackak.com.
Double Shovel Cider Company, located off of Arctic and 58th, handcrafted Alaskan-made colonial ciders. They also have a tap room downtown on the corner of 5th and E. Stop by today and taste an award-winning cider.
AKO Farms, located in Sitka, Alaska, built from the ground up with concentrates as their single motivation. Find their products such as their sugar wax, full spectrum diamond sauce carts, and more at the Treehouse AK and other dispensaries around the state. Ask your local bud tender about AKO.
TheTreehouseAK.com, located at 341 Boniface Parkway, Alaska's own and grown cannabis and CBD store. Ask the bud tender what the strain of the day is to get your 10% off. The Treehouse, where the culture lives.
Marijuana has intoxicating effects and may be habit-forming and addictive. Marijuana impairs concentration, coordination, and judgment. Do not operate a vehicle or machinery under the influence. There are health risks associated with consumption of marijuana. For the use of only by adults 21 and older. Keep out of the reach of children, and marijuana should not be used by women who are pregnant or breastfeeding.
Serrano's Mexican Grill, 2 locations, one on Tudor, one on Northern Lights. The Northern Lights location has their new tequila bar. Check it out. Also see their daily specials at serranosmexicangrill.com.
Lawn Pro AK, Alaska's year-round professional property maintenance team. Services include snow and ice management, weekly lawn care, and more. Get your free estimate today at lawnproak.com.
I say try. If we never try, we shall never succeed. This proposition is a simple truth, and it's too important to be lost sight of for a moment. If we cannot beat the enemy where he now is, we never can. It is all easy if our troops march as well as the enemy, and it is unmanly to say they cannot do it.